I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Here I am, some Hollywood guy standing on an empty street in Indianapolis, talking to you about these unprecedented times and a basketball season and tournament unlike any other, and that you should watch this game tonight because it'll be different. But I'm not here to sell you on any of that because it's simply not true. Not tonight. In fact, tonight, the only surprise may be that it'll be just like it's always been. Let me explain. Does anyone remember how many fans were at this game in 1982? When this happened, what songs were the school bands playing that night? Does it matter? And then there's this. Do you even know what stadium that was? You probably don't. You know why? Because on this night, what history remembers is them.
We're on this stage for a reason. We're on this stage because we're the best basketball players in the country right now.
We've done everything we needed to do to get put in this position.
Man, this game is the biggest game of my life.
Man, I'm excited. Something that we've all been waiting for, that the country's all been waiting for.
Comes down to the last 40 minutes on the clock. Like, what you gonna do with it?
So much history that comes with this. The story's gonna be told for a long, long time, either way.
Over time, the crowds have grown, the bands have grown, even the venues have grown, and it can be a little, mad. But what matters most hasn't changed, because 50 years from now, we won't talk about how many people weren't in the stands. The memories that are made by them.
And here we go. Yes, the Onions! Back in the Final Four. Another step towards perfection. Baylor to the championship game. Gonzaga has time to do something for the win. Perfect season.
Unprecedented times? Yeah. I mean, look at me. In any other year, I'd be doing this from the Final Four, but I'm not. I'm here in LA, on a soundstage, doing what many of you at home are doing, adjusting to these times, finding new ways to make it work. So yes, this year has been different. This tournament's been different, but tonight's not about any of that. Tonight is about them and the history that they make.
And welcome to Championship Monday night. Yes, there is going to be so much history at stake. It is a dream matchup. Baylor and Gonzaga. They started the season long ago as the top two ranked teams, and here they are at the very end playing for the title. Here come the Baylor Bears. Baylor going through Houston on Saturday to take on Gonzaga. The Bulldogs with that unforgettable overtime win against UCLA. And here come the Zags. They've been number one from the start, never given it up, and they are undefeated, going for the first unbeaten championship in 40 years. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Grant Hill, Bill Raftery, Gene Steratore, Tracy Wilson. Great to have you guys with us here on Championship Night. Yes, it's everything. You got these high-scoring teams. These teams that were supposed to play back December 5th, 4 months ago in this city, got canceled. Undefeated season. There's a lot to sort out here, guys.
Hey, Jim, the two top teams in the country, buckle up, get your popcorn. It'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Great basketball, a lot of offense. They're ready to tee it up. Number one and number two.
And how can you let go, though, of what happened at the end on Saturday night with the Suggs shot? That's all I've heard about for the last 40 hours or so.
And Jim, rightfully so. Certainly a shot for an entire generation. Move over, Mr. Leitner. Add a chair and a seat at the table of great shots in the tournament.
I hear the phone ringing right now. Might be Christian. But you know what's nice? They didn't need an inbound passer to have that great play. He did it on his own.
Well, Grant, tell us a little bit more about this freshman by way of Minnesota.
Jim, so impressive. high-level talent, thinks the game at a high level. He's fearless and relentless in this sequence right here. Says it all. Look at that block shot, and then the awareness and the gall to make this pass. He delivered, but once again, yes, he upstaged himself with this play right here. His team needed it, stepped up with confidence. A little kiss. Yeah, a little kiss off the glass. Tremendous. But who will stop him for Baylor? That's the big question.
That was no little kiss. That was a big kiss, and it got them into this championship game. Let's go over to Tracy for more on Suggs.
Well, Jim, after Jalen Suggs hit that shot, there were tears flowing down his face. And I asked him why he was so emotional. And he said because a dream became a reality, a dream that started on his little Tykes hoop and then in the driveway with his dad and in the high school gym with his buddies. And those tears quickly turned to elation. He told me he couldn't wipe the smile off his face. He heard from Drew Brees and LeBron. He heard from Mahomes and his idol Dwayne Wade. And he told me he watched that game a handful of times. But he is absolutely ready to get back out here and finish what he started, and that is trying to win a national championship for Gonzaga.
Thank you, Tracy. Baylor, this is a team that is so dangerous, Bill.
A lot of big names contacting Suggs. I didn't hear Grant Hill at all. This is a great offensive team as well. Just outstanding performers. Davion Mitchell, better known for his defense. We'll get to that in a moment, but he's got a great ability to dance, spread you out a little bit, step back and knock down shots. They use the whole floor. Closeouts, you've got to be under control. Butler this time the ability to space and do some damage, but how about this, a little step and go, big time finish. The problem is they got to play Jalen Suggs on that defensive end.
We've waited 2 years for another championship game. Can't wait to present it to you. It's coming your way on CBS.
A new Tough as Nails.
Congratulations to all the schools and players. We love watching this tournament. But, you know, there's something we'd also love to see. Crowds in the stands, life returning to normal.
To make that happen, we all need to do our part. Every team knows that you can't let up until it's over. And the fight against COVID-19 isn't over yet. So keep masking up and get vaccinated when it's your turn. Every shot matters in this tournament, and every shot matters against this virus.
Let's come together and beat this thing. We can do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask those willing and able to please rise to honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad. The presentation of the colors is provided by members of the Military Department of Indiana Ceremonial Unit, comprised of Indiana Army and Air National Guard members from all corners of the state. And now, as we conclude a season unlike any other, we salute our nation's heroes for their courageousness and selflessness that help keep this country safe and make this season possible. Please join us in the singing of our national anthem as led by frontline and essential workers from the greater Indianapolis area. From the Indianapolis Fire Department, please welcome Captain Aaron Thomas. From the United States Army Field Band, Sergeant First Class Ben Hilgert. IU Health Pediatrician Dr. Eric Yancey. Please welcome Riverside High School student technology and choir teacher Dominique Wickware Kelly. From Riley Children's Hospital, social worker Leah Crane. And from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, Officer Shayna Moore.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
O'er the ramparts we watched, where the gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? O'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
A new Be Positive, Thursday, 9:30, 8:30 Central, or stream anytime on CBS.
Hey, I didn't order any pizza.
Jake from State Farm. After you saved me so much dough on insurance with that Parker promo, I devised a promo for you.
Here's the deal, Parker. State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
Yeah, right. Pepperoni pockets, an atomic brownie, cuckoo crusties.
There's no promo, it's just great rates.
And a cider ranch. You're the man.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's National Championship game is sponsored by the all-new Buick Envision. Aflac. Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Invesco QQQ, official ETF of the NCAA. And by Mortal Kombat, April 23rd.
Welcome to the 2021 National Championship game. Playing in the National Championship game for the first time since 1948, here are the Baylor Bears.
Welcome to the show. Woo! Here we go.
And it's Butler again. He's everywhere.
Let's bring it home. Baylor's back, baby. Time is now.
Yeah, I came here to win.
It's game time.
Game time.
Game time.
That's as impressive as it gets. Baylor advances to the championship game.
We playing Monday, baby.
Yeah, I came here to win.
Starting tonight for Baylor University. At forward, a 6'10 junior from Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, number 0, Flo Thamba. At forward, a 6'5 senior from Lake Charles, Louisiana, number 11, Mark Vital. At guard, a 6'3 junior from Reserve, Louisiana, number 12, Jared Butler. At guard, a 6'4 senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 31, Maceo Teague. And at guard, a 6'2 junior from Hinesville, Georgia, number 45, Davion Mitchell. Looking for their first national championship in school history. Here are the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Game time.
Let's do this.
This is Gonzaga basketball right here.
Bring it home.
Suggs for the win. Oh, yes. Unbelievable. A perfect season remains on go. There are onions, Jim, and then there are major onions with a kiss. Oh, my goodness. One of the great games in Final Four history. Starting tonight for Gonzaga. At forward, a 6'10 sophomore from Richardson, Texas. Number 2, Drew Timme. At forward, a 6'7 senior from Edmonds, Washington. Number 24, Corey Kispert. Guard, a 6'4 freshman from West St. Paul, Minnesota, number 1, Jalen Suggs. At guard, a 6'5 junior from Aurora, Ontario, number 3, Andrew Nimhard. And at guard, a 6'5 junior from Bordeaux, France, number 11, Joel Ayayi. And introducing the head coaches for Baylor in his 18th season for the Bears, coaching his 25th NCAA tournament game, Scott Drew. For Gonzaga in his 22nd season for the Bulldogs, coaching his 57th NCAA tournament game, Mark Few. There is not a closer friendship, perhaps, in all of college basketball than the one between Few and Drew. And now their teams are about to meet.
Are you ready?
Woo! The artists you know, the music you love, and a live music event.
Here and now, ain't no better place, ain't no better time than here and now.
It's a celebration of Nashville with over 25 live performances. Keith Urban and Mickey Guyton host. The ACM Awards live Sunday, April 18th on CBS.
We fit a lot of life into our Subaru Forester.
It's good to be back.
Sure is.
Over the years, we trusted it to carry and protect the things that were most important to us. Good boy. We always knew we had a lot of life ahead of us.
Remember this?
That's why we chose a car we knew would be there for us through it all.
Welcome to the Subaru Forester, the longest-lasting, most trusted Forester ever.
There's power in numbers. 24s will live in your head.
I'm home.
10s, more gold than Midas.
Midas who?
And 33s will be the first to defeat Father Time.
I'll get you next time, 33!
There's power in numbers. Take yours. Powerade. More power for me.
And just to make it a little more appetizing by percentage, well, the best combined record in championship game history. How about that? 58-2. Bo Borowski, Randy McCall, Keith Kimball get the championship assignment. Congratulations to them. Here we go, fellas. Here we go, America. Let's make a little history tonight in Indianapolis.
Jim Nance at Grant Hill right now.
The Zags go a little. Wait a minute.
Butler, a little switch off defensively right away. And this is going to be some matchup right here. Mitchell with Suggs on him, and again, Zag showing switch. It's vital, and he's too strong with it, but fights for the rebound. Misses a second attempt.
That's his game, too. Now, they got to attack the rim. There's no deterrent at the rim defensively.
Mitchell. And he hits the jumper right over Ayayi.
Jim, Gonzaga's going to be tested. Baylor, one of the best isolation basketball teams in all of college basketball.
Pittsburgh's got to make shots, too. I think the key is how they guard Timmy at this end of the floor. He is the key guy.
Quick hands of Baylor, already tapping it a couple of times. Here's Suggs from three.
They're front at the post that time, Grant. See if that continues. And he starts dancing, watch out.
Gonzaga likes to switch. See if Baylor can exploit the matchup in that isolation basketball.
Now Kispert on Teague.
Ready on Mitchell, too. Got some size to stop that jumper.
Here's Teague, looking for the paint. Fade away, not there. But another offensive rebound by Vital.
Does every nice cut and a look.
Yes, give the assist to Vital. Butler with the basket.
All the little things. Number 11, a little charge, I think.
It is a charge on Suggs as Mitchell stood his ground.
How about Vital's presence here early? Offensive rebound, great back cut to the rim, Jared Butler, and he loves to finish amongst the trees inside. But right now, Baylor coming out with intensity on both ends of the floor. The defensive player of the year sacrificing his body to get that charge.
I'm not so sure he got there that time, though. But that's what he does, draws charges. Will do a lot of screening.
Here's Mitchell again from the outside.
Wow,
and that's a three. He's hit his first two shots.
He had Timmy on him. They knew the fear of going by. Let him shoot that deep one.
Wow, what a start by Baylor.
And Gonzaga's got to get to their spacing and motion offense. So hard to defend.
This guy's got to make shots.
Kispert short with the first attempt. And it's going to stay at this end.
Kispert gets open looks. He's got to make them. Just a nice little read here. A little slow cover by Timmy. A little hesitant, Grant.
Too much space. You have to be up on that screen with Mitchell.
Suggs looking for help to get it in. Goes long with it to Kispert.
This is the guy that gets in the lane, has nice pace to his game.
But he throws it away. There was no one there.
Hey guys, look, back in '91 when we beat UNLV in the semifinals of the Final Four, Coach K struggled to get us refocused and locked in against Kansas in the finals. Now, we eventually did, but it'd be interesting to see if the Zags, who look a little flat right now, can get themselves going here in this first half.
He got your attention, right? He got your attention.
He was out of practice.
I think he always got his attention. Just guessing.
That's what they got to do.
Butler with the drive for two more.
And they got to do that. He's got a major shot blocker on the back line.
Gonzaga with its biggest deficit of the tournament. It had trailed at one time Oklahoma by 8. 9 down, not even 3 minutes into this game. Suggs blocked by Teague. And last touch by the Zags.
Nobody talks about this Baylor defense, Grant. And they just get down in the stance. They control their own guy. And just terrific coverage here. Look at the double up. Butler so attentive to take away that baseline. Good coordination defensively by Teague as well.
Gonzaga's only attempted 3 shots, turned it over twice. Finds themselves in a 9-0 hole. As Teague got fouled on the way in.
Suggs, number 2. If they give it to him, yeah.
It's on Suggs.
That changes everything. Cook will probably come in now, who's a solid kid, confident, can make shots, excellent defense. That really puts you in a little bit of a hole, Grant.
No question. Gonzaga obviously having to get some stops on the defensive end. Suggs helping, reaching in, got all of that arm right there. We'll have to sit down, but they're going to have to just lock in, settle down here, and try to not get too much separation against these Bears.
Look at this mismatch here. He's got to take him with the bounce.
Mitchell goes past Timmy. Floats it underneath.
Look at the
Violet. Back to Thamba. Back it in.
Look at this offensive rebounding. That's when they're dangerous. The kick out.
Dominating the class 6-1 early.
Once again, the mismatch. He starts dancing.
He starts dancing. Turn the jukebox on.
And he starts driving. And Timmy comes out with it. Up ahead, Nimhart. They got their numbers. He's going to take it to Butler, and he gets fouled.
Should have given it up.
Yeah, I thought he had it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wide open.
Unbelievably delicious Coca-Cola flavors, enjoyed by national champions and also by everyone else.
And right now, guys, 4 offensive rebounds by Baylor. Too much. Gonzaga has to get stopped so they can get out in transition where they thrive.
So, almost 4 minutes in, and the highest scoring team in college basketball still seeking his first point of the night.
And got some offense. They sometimes gain when they go to the bench, this Baylor team.
Oh, it's amazing what they do.
Right?
They had 32 of Baylor's 78 in the win against Houston. Now, the second one goes, finally. Bulldogs on the board.
Chachawa is such an important ingredient for this team. His ball screens and dives, he sprints the floor. Big time defensive factor as well.
He tried to talk to Scott Drew about his bench, and he says it's really an 8-starter rotation because they get pretty much equal minutes, and they come up big. Here's Mitchell again, freeing himself. He hits another shot.
Is he locked in or what, Raph?
He is ready to go. Goodness, uncontrollable early.
10-point lead for the Bears.
Gonzaga's got to get Timmy involved.
Timmy's got to get touches. They're trying to prevent touches is the game plan.
Great front and side.
And look at the weak side help.
Nemhard back outside. Was it tipped? It was. 5 on the shot clock, but we've got a break in the action. This is what it's been.
Boy, they are ready to go. He is on fire. A countable performer. The Bears, solid early. Woo! On fire.
Thanks to Pizza Hut for reimagining the student section this year. Since students couldn't be here in person, they were able to submit a photo and have their faces on cutouts in the stands. Student section delivered by Pizza Hut, official pizza of March Madness. Mark Few talking to Suggs, who's on the bench with 2 early fouls.
I'm frustrated. Really a tough call on the first one. Really should only have 1.
Kispert has to put it up to beat the shot clock. That's a big one.
That is big for him as well. Struggle a little bit from deep. They need him to deliver big time.
First basket of the night, and it took over 4 minutes and 35 seconds to get one home. And now Butler.
Can't overhelp with a nice dive by Jonathan. Whoa. Oh, what a clever little pocket pass by Butler.
And Chachua able to finish it off. Timmy driving in.
Nice footwork.
Nice defense.
It sure is.
Cook swings it. Almost got away from him.
And the way Baylor helps and recovers and gets back to shooters, impressive.
They got to get it inside here. Timmy's got his guy.
Cook with 5, doubled up.
Nice cut.
Finds a Yayi and short with the little shot.
That's what they do best. Dive to the rim. Bail out the dribbler.
Butler. Another one from the outside.
Ooh, you cannot sneak a peek and help out off the guy with the ball. That's the problem. You can't stunt. They get a crease, a gap. The kick, it's nothing but nylon. Boy, are they shooting the ball great.
It's just the 4th time this season Gonzaga has been down double digits. Dave Gavitt, we lost him a long time ago, so pivotal, but you saw Tom Jernstedt on the right, so instrumental in the expansion, the growth of the NCAA tournament. He passed away this year. He's been honored and celebrated this week in Indianapolis, and he is missed by everybody in the college game. Here's Timmy driving in off the pass from Cook.
Cook's got a nice feel for the game. Nice dive to the rim. Suggs out. I would keep him out for a while. Short. Early in the game, these leads are very misleading. Zags just have to get their legs a little. Nice dive here by that's a good foul by Kispert.
Flagler will go to the line as Kispert knocked him down. Look at this pass. Cook getting all these minutes without Suggs.
Absolutely. Of course, big-time player at Southern Illinois, but I'm just amazed how they understand how to get to the open spot. Make yourself available.
Thursday, United States of Al has joined the powerhouse CBS comedy lineup. From Chuck Lorre, executive producer of The Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon, Mom, See why people are saying everyone could use a friend like Al. Here. United States of Al. Thursday after Young Sheldon here on CBS. How long do you sit Suggs?
I keep him. It's early in the game. I mean, there's a comfort zone. They've got a couple of backup guys. So what Cook was able to do there, and there's all these sliced by Big Jonathan.
Timmy had taken away. Mitchell, no call. Hits the deck. Back out. Flagler, who can shoot it. It's a three.
Good piece of officiating, too. A lot of guys would have called that clean block, but they have subs who can light it up.
And right now, Gonzaga just looks fatigued, almost drained right now. Don't have that energy we're accustomed to seeing from them on both ends of the floor.
It's their biggest deficit of the whole season, 15.
Problem is, Timmy's not the big factor he has to be.
So Nemhard hits the shot.
He's poised and controlled. Love his game right there. Gonzaga just has to stay within striking distance here. They can't let this lead get too big.
Tough matchups on the ball screen, too. And there's the same one. They dive.
Wide open.
They don't cover. And you had mentioned to me off air, right? If you cover him, you got the three.
You cover it. The shooters are wide open. They've been knocking down those threes. And if you leave them open, high percentage shot at the rim.
Gonzaga's defense has no answers.
Look at this defense. Goodness.
There's another turnover. Flagler looking up. Meyer.
Nice pump.
Pops it up. Chachua. Off the front of the rim. Now Nemhard weaving. Going outside with it. Cook. Shot's not there.
Look at this kid, chest to chest, Mitchell.
Takes the challenge, doesn't he?
His nickname is Off Night. Goodness.
Timmy. Again, they're able to go in and take it away from him.
Yeah, Meyer with a great recognition and help.
2 of the last 3 trips down the floor, they've just stolen it away from Timmy. Now Mitchell
goes left three.
Block by Timmy. What a block.
Got numbers here.
Mitchell still waiting.
Nice pass.
Nemhard. What a block. Chachua.
Oh, goodness, that was a clean block. Woo. Wow.
And they called the foul.
Goodness.
But now 23-8 as we reach another break. Bears opening up in a blitz.
There's power.
They were 1-2 at the start of the year, just the 5th time the championship game features AP preseason top 2. And how about this, the 2, in this case Baylor is the 2. The 2 has already won all the previous matchups.
And Rat, this screen and roll on that roll by Chachua leaves that wide open shooter, and you stay home, he's wide open. When you have 4 shooters on the perimeter and screen and roll, so tough to defend Gonzaga. And Baylor just picking apart that defense. Great decision making, great scoring and finishing by the Bears.
So Grant, you brought it up about what did Saturday night take out of them? And you have an overtime game against UCLA. You have all that emotion. Here's that block, by the way. They called the foul.
Just a great play.
He might have got him on the head a little bit. I don't know from that angle. But it looked clean, though.
Boy, it was a great effort. Suggs on the floor, by the way. And he's got to play conservatively. They got to change their ball screen tactics. I would even try going under a little bit. Maybe not as effective shooting the 3 off the dribble. There's their bumps. They changed the look.
Flagler back to the rim, but runs to the rebound. Somehow comes off the foot of Watson.
And that's their 6th offensive rebound.
This will go to the Zags on the arrow.
Goodness, are they out hustling him? Timmy gets a little bit of a blow.
And Jim, to your question earlier, that big win they had the other day against UCLA, I'm mindful of when we beat Kentucky and Leitner hit that incredible shot. We were flat a week later in the semifinals against Indiana. So hard to come down and refocus after a big-time play, and certainly Gonzaga may be struggling with that right now.
Nice little curl here. First time they've run that.
Oh, my goodness. Thamba says no to Kispert's drive and shot attempt.
Laying the Thamba on him. A nice little curl play, playing small right now with Timmy out. But look at that reach. Their centers exactly know their job. Here it's a little bit lost.
Oh, Watson underneath.
I think
he felt the presence.
He felt it. Great call.
Butler, step back three.
Are they locked in and focused?
They also know defensively, the Zags, they can blow by you as well. Great individual skill level. And I guess breaking into the cylinder there.
They got Flagler on the foul. Timmy's going to come in.
You said it best, Bill. I mean, these guys are not only catch and shoot players, they can create plays off the bounce. These three guards, so explosive and so dynamic.
They look so much, Suggs is in the game, looks so much quicker than Gonzaga here at the start.
Well, they're just influenced. No touches for Timmy, and that's part of the problem. Look at
Suggs loses the ball on the floor, tries to get it down to Timmy, who's on the floor with it, but Teague's there too.
Boy, they are not.
This arrow will go to Baylor.
Boy, they are not packing attack. They are just aggressive. Talked about the rebounds, loose balls, deflections. They are wired into this game. The Zags got to match it at some point. Look at the hands, the trap, take away the vision, the all-out hustle. They think you got a deuce for Timmy. Forget about it. Green shirts active.
Now Suggs with the two fouls, going to back off and go down low and look after Thamba.
Teague's got to take him. This is the mismatch he wants.
Teague takes the shot.
How about this? They just own the white shirts.
29-10. Incredible. 5 for 5 from 3 are the Baylor Bears. Timmy. Tough shot, got it to go.
Nice fake dribble handoff right there by Timmy. But with this lead right now, you can't try to get it all back on one possession. You just have to chip away, try to get some momentum if you're the Zags going into halftime soon.
Well, you need a heck of a hammer to chip away at this. The offense is so smooth and effective. Getting good shots and getting second opportunities.
I mean, Baylor 5 for 5 right now from the three-point line.
Teague, as they get the switch off defensively, 4 to shoot, 2 to shoot.
Great float team too. Look at this, Vital doing such a good job, gets another possession.
Off the hands of Timmy. Celebrate the 2021 National Championship with the officially licensed locker room tees, hats, and more for all your team apparel and accessories. Head to ncaa.com/shop. Butler comes back in for Flagler.
And Raph, it's so difficult to defend these Bears. Multiple guys can go get their shot. When everything breaks down, they have the ability to go score, and they've been doing it here early.
And you got to stay honest.
That's why
got a foul.
Going to be whistled for it.
Goodness. There's a little nickel dime McCrory's basement. But the ability to beat your guy individually, you have to stay home, contain your own guy, because they are devastating on a kick.
A nickel dimer, he fouled him.
A small change. Again, the rubs, they hadn't done it. Again,
going the other way.
I think the moving. Tom has done that a couple of times during the NCAA tournament.
That could have been 3 on Suggs right there, but you're right. The moving screen.
First on Thamba.
Very close.
But as a screener, you just stand still. It's up to the cutter to set his man up. Nice play.
Underneath, it's going to be Baylor basketball with Butler.
Lamba's presence fell again at the rim.
Absolutely.
Butler.
The slap back.
Front of the rim. There's Suggs wanting to take off with it. This look familiar? Going to drive in, give it up. Timmy for the dunk.
And he avoided the charge. The presence of mind. Mitchell so alert, stepping in that running lane.
First assist for Suggs. He's got 2 turnovers and missed his 2 shots with 2 fouls to boot.
Such good finishers at the rim. Look at his shot.
Wow, you said he could float.
They got a great little baby hook at the rim. Gorgeous delivery.
Kispert. Underneath, bodies are down.
The other way. Timmy. they are alert on both ends of the floor.
Raph, how about the defensive presence from Thamba? I mean, he's blocking shots, getting deflections on ball screens, drawing offensive fouls. His defensive intensity early, giving life and a lot of momentum to these Bears.
I'll be a little more ball screening action with big Jonathan, everyday Jonathan on the floor. Here it is, empty side, too.
Mitchell moves it to the corner to Meyer. Gisbert committed. Outside, Butler. Rebound, that's Meyer charging in and going to be whistled for it. Well, maybe not.
I think you're right.
It is. Against Baylor's Meyer. But it is all Baylor right now, guys.
The centers are playing great for Baylor. Whew, solid, enjoyed it.
My whole life is on my phone, so I need a secure network.
Your security is our priority. Say this ball is a security threat, and that's your phone. Take a shot. Oh, and if
Coverage of the Coverage of the NCAA Men's National Championship game is sponsored by AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure. Acura. Precision crafted performance. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance.
Back in Naptown. And just watch what happens here as Teague hits the shot. That was the bench cam powered by AT&T 5G. And that bench, and this bench knows how to contribute. +9 so far in this game. That's just a running thread to the whole season.
They know how to root, obviously, and why not? Some great contributions.
Conversely for Gonzaga, they don't really have great depth. Strict 7-man rotation, really relying heavily on their starters.
Got the starting 5 on the floor against Suggs. Had to sit early with the 2 fouls. Being careful.
Give it to him. Give it to him. This is a nice matchup for Timmy. Get him to the box.
Suggs driving in, has a stolen. His 3rd turnover. Now Vital. Passes to Teague, and that's goaltending.
Boy, the mistakes the Zags are making, uncharacteristic, but the tenacity, the aggressiveness, and just terrific open floor opportunity.
It's the physicality of the Baylor defense.
Right.
Guards are so physical, they attack you, creating those turnovers. The best team in college basketball forcing turnovers.
Into Timmy, and a foul first, though.
They got to do more of that. Got to get him involved. They got the mismatch they wanted. They got to get back to playing their style of basketball. He's a great guy, sealing and begging, but the timing's been off. And as you alluded to, Grant, they are just up and into the shirts.
First on Mitchell. There's Kispert. Misfiring on a 3.
Dangerous on the slapback here.
Meyer. Step back, takes 3 of his own. And that's Nembhard able to save it to Yayi. Suggs driving in. Outside.
They needed that one too. They need a pause that refreshes. They are struggling.
And he's a guy who's a difference maker. I mean, his talent, his athleticism, he can match that, although he has to be careful with the fouls. But Suggs being aggressive and being smart, so important for the Zags trying to get back in the game.
Butler goes to the bench. He just picked up his 2nd.
They score 91 points a game, and they are really having trouble at this end. Not good coordination, not the smooth outlook we've seen on the offensive end for this team.
And that's the first point of the night for Suggs. First time the ball's gone through the cylinder since hitting the game winner on Saturday night. Got them both.
That was still one of the most incredible games that I've seen. I think you guys would agree. You've seen a lot of them, Jim.
No, it's going to rank up there, but you know, you have to really, in some respects, pay it off. You got to win the next one.
No question.
As Grant mentioned, you know, they were on a high little zone look. This is dangerous.
Inside.
Vital doesn't give up on a play, this kid. Energy, aggressiveness. Automatic switching, but they are really off their game, aren't they?
No question. Good pass.
Back to Timmy for 2.
Got to use him. Get him involved. Get the big fella moving. Screen, roll. And reverse the ball when he's fronted and he can step across the lane.
Well, with this team right here in Baylor, you cannot relax running your zone if you're Gonzaga. The shooters and the passing and decision-making, they will pick a zone apart.
See how wide the zone is, too?
Baylor bouncing around and out.
Oh, they give Nemhard the foul there.
You said it best. Get Timmy involved. Great screen, roll to the basket. Timmy's ranks 3rd in the country in scoring on layups. His movement and activity is so important, but they got to find him to give him an opportunity to score.
First foul on Nemhard. Mitchell looking for a second option. Goes underneath to Thamba. Looking for help.
Back to straight up man. The empty side, he's so dangerous.
And that pass sails on him.
He's mad because Flagler wasn't in the right spot. He wanted him in the corner on that dribble drive kick.
Give the Zags credit, though. The help side did come over, forcing him to take that bad shot.
You got 2 on Butler, 2 on Chachua, and 2 on Suggs. That was the first. As
I'll give it up.
Suggs drives in and lays it in.
I like the kick to the corner. He wants to put his imprint on this game, doesn't he?
Turnover by Mitchell. Last time down the floor was his first turnover in the tournament in 69 minutes of playing time. He had 15 assists between turnovers, and here he is back with the basketball, giving it up to Flagler.
The middle's going to be wide open because you got to stretch the D to cover these dynamite Trey shooters.
Teague with 5. Off his foot on the floor. 1 to shoot. Mitchell. Rebound, Timmy fighting, Thamba for it, and they call it jump ball. It will go to Gonzaga.
This really solid. On this return, I thought he had a 3-point shooter in the corner. He wants to get into the game, get into the flow of things, get his team going.
And Raph, they need him to do just that. Stay aggressive attacking for his team to have a chance.
Timmy's still the guy they got to go through somehow.
Kispert slashing, giving it up. Ayayi coming off his career high, and he's tripped by Thamba, who now has his second.
Now they have problems, the 2 big guys covering that ball screen too. That could be an effective weapon, particularly with Timmy, and then you get the mismatch on the box for the big guy.
We'll take Thamba out, and Chachua with 2 fouls also returns, as does Meyer.
Talk about Meyer and Chachua. When they come in, a whole different look to this team, defensively and offensively for Baylor.
Absolutely. Both of them play with energy, with freedom, particularly Meyer on the offensive end.
Ayayi, first team all West Coast Conference. We'll get one more. Get nonstop sports news, expert picks, and the biggest highlights on CBS Sports HQ, the free 24/7 Sports News Network. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today.
You got to start thinking stops, creep your way back in. If you're the Zags, hit under 10, be comfortable. A lot of game left. This zone has been effective, switching on and off from man.
Last 6 points to the Bulldogs.
Look at the stretch of the D. I put a shooter on the foul line.
Flagler loves this shot.
He's got it. How about that? You can't cover that whole floor, can you?
When you put Meyer in the game, you have 4 shooters out there on the floor with the great decision-making of Mitchell.
Kispert, turn around, nice. Got it.
Be more aggressive. He has to be. All-American, leader.
You almost have to play this zone paranoid. I mean, you have to play with energy and aggressiveness. You can't stand back against Baylor in the zone. They will pick you apart, and they've done it.
And there's Kispert with the steal. Up ahead he goes perfectly to Ayayi, and that's 8 unanswered.
This team, they have a big-time ticker. They're not going to go away. Early leads, misleading. You get a little fat, you fall in love with your game against the big-time opponent. Send it in, Bordeaux. I love that name.
It's actually a 10-3 run for Gonzaga, shooting over 50%, Grant, but down 12. 8 offensive rebounds by Baylor in this game.
And there's been a lot of turnovers forced by Baylor. They average 17 turnovers a game in terms of forcing, and right now, Gonzaga 8 of them. That's why the Baylor Bears have more shot attempts.
1-3-1, they use this once in a while. Big out top with a Yayi. Tough to get across court. You're going to get a corner jumper out of this, and offensive rebounding as well.
Butler back on the floor for Baylor with 2 fouls. Turnovers 8 already. They've averaged 11 in the tournament.
They take off the 1-3-1, go back to the 2-3 zone. But once again, that foul area, get a shooter in there. Teague just flashed. There you go.
Teague steps out of the paint and hits the jumper.
Pretty easy. I mean, they can slip anybody in there. They play 4 round 1.
You like it best when they have a decision maker and a guy who can make a play there at that free throw line for the Bears.
Absolutely.
Suggs open 3. Long rebound out to Butler.
Like to see him attacking early now.
Teague.
Well, you
he got another one.
Well, you go. Don't get back. Don't get your hand up. Don't contest the shot. This team is unerring early. Look at this aggressive D.
Just so hard for Gonzaga to operate like it normally does. Underneath, Kispert.
That's their game.
Great cut, great pass.
They're great analyzing. They get to the right spot, and you're right. Sibby, a great field.
You said it best, Rag. I mean, this is one of the best offenses of all time here, the way they move and cut. And this, no freedom out there, just confusion because of this defense.
And they found that spot now.
Teague with the jumper.
It's
too easy.
Tough to play zone.
Kispert makes the shot, gives it up to Suggs. 2 minutes to go in a one-sided first half. Nembhard steps back for a 3. Short. Yayi keeps it down at this end. Nembhard driving in, and he got a whistle. Coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg, Clark, Kenny, and Charles have an in-depth breakdown of the first half of tonight's championship game. Highlights and analysis, AT&T at the half. And everyone's thinking the same thing. Just emotionally, physically fatigued off the Saturday night, and Baylor is so good.
I think they got punched early, as they say. Took the air right out of them, don't you?
They got stunned.
Yeah.
No question.
3rd foul, by the way, on Chachua, who is going to come out now with Vital taking his spot.
And as you said earlier, Jim, Gonzaga's been down double digits a few times in the first half this season. Although, not against the Baylor Bears.
It reminds me, we were talking to Mark Few yesterday about the miracle on ice. USA beats Russia, but that's the semifinal game. And I said, you know, Coach, you still got to come back like the USA did. You got to beat Finland. And he said, Baylor is a lot better than Finland.
Back to straight up man.
Teague with the ball has the last 7 for the Bears. Looking for more.
Tough shot. Look at Vital, though.
Gets it back to Teague. And rebound to Kispert with 1:28. Dump it down low.
There you go.
Vital behind him. Works it hard, gets the whistle.
Timmy has the size advantage down low on Vital. Vital only 6'5", giving up some height.
Timmy does a great job running rim to rim and then locking his guy in that lane. Beggs big time, as we've noted all year long. His footwork is impeccable.
Two shots. Timmy with this memorable tournament run. He led them with 25 in the game against UCLA. He's averaged 22 in the tournament. It might have the biggest draw charge in the history of the Final Four.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. And had a huge overtime that was overshadowed, of course, by the heroics of Suggs.
2 for 2. So the lead's been 19 several times after a 9-0 explosion at the start by Baylor. Now down to 13.
This is where they've had their problems. Timmy with a nice show.
Isolation here on Timmy.
They know.
Butler wanting it, driving it. Hit it out to Vital.
Oh, they draw attention and slip pass.
Timmy in traffic, lost it on the floor. Kispert's there, tries to dump it. Ayayi has to come back out. Suggs.
Attention and slip pass.
Timmy in traffic, lost it on the floor. Kispert's there, tries to dump it. Ayayi has to come back out. Suggs now, slashing, and that's going to be against Baylor. Big call right there.
Well, you are right, Jim. Got a little too deep.
I think Vital might have been in the restricted zone there.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Second on Vital. There are some foul concerns now for the Bears, fellas.
The three centers, really, when you think of it.
Well, you got Chachua has 3. Then you have Butler, Vital, and Thamba all with 2.
If you're Gonzaga now, you're thinking stop. One stop, get a possession.
Gonzaga missed its first free throw attempt and has made now its last 11.
It's smart for the Zags to keep attacking.
And taking Suggs out.
Suggs out of the game. They've had 13 free throw attempts to Baylor's 2.
They are very fortunate to only be down 12.
Oh, no, without a doubt here. They can get a stop and a score. Got to be feeling good about themselves going into half.
Got a 7-second differential.
Run out ball screen. You got to stay at home on the corner shooters.
Mitchell with the shot clock at 7. About to take off.
It's the step back 3 here by Mitchell.
There it is, Grant. Short.
Violation.
Shot clock violation gives Gonzaga
Put Suggs back in.
time to do something.
Give
Put
credit
Suggs,
to Cook.
Yeah, very good. Put Suggs back in. I'm going to check the timer, I think. See if Mark doesn't want to chance it, I guess.
They add it over a second and a half, up to 8.4.
Good that Nembhard on the floor, too. He's one of those guys that can push it quickly. On the run. They're going to get an open look here.
Still driving. As the trailer walks in.
What a great bit of execution. And boy, talk about a momentum. Woo, getting to 10. Ooh, it's relief.
The Zags showing some heart, some grit and toughness, showing why they've been undefeated. Could have been knocked out. Beautiful pass and finish, and only down 10 after that first half.
Pretty good. And
wow. It was a standing 8 count early.
Oh, you're right. They need the fight doctor in the corner, but the ability to cut, beautiful that trip. That's their game.
It was a 9-2 run over the last 2 minutes, including the last 5. So much of this game down between 15 and 19, and they get it to 10 at the intermission. We go to Tracy.
Well, Coach, they were able to make a run down the stretch there, but how were you able to disrupt this offense, holding them to just 37 points in the first half?
Well, we did a good job early, and then after that, they really we knew they'd make a run. Obviously, this game's a 40-minute game, but they got too many in transition on us. We got to do a much better job getting back. We did an offensive rebound as well in the last 10 minutes, and then we got to get to the free throw line. So we got to find a way to get there.
How much does your foul trouble concern you?
It concerns me. It concerns me more them on the free throw line and us not, though. So we got to do a good job guarding without fouling, and then we got to get some free throws.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Maceo Teague leads Baylor with 14. That's the end of the first half with the score. Baylor 47, Gonzaga 37. We're sending you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
This is AT&T at the half. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure.
Back in Indianapolis, the Baylor Bears came out of the locker room like a house of fire. led by as many as 19, but Gonzaga came charging back as you knew they would, and it's a 10-point difference at the break. Hello and welcome everyone to AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel alongside Charles, Kenny, and Clark. Let's take a look at these first half highlights, Clark, and figure out what was going so well for Gonzaga, for Baylor, and what wasn't going so well for the Bulldogs.
Well, for the Bears, it was everything. They were doing exactly what they've shown us all season, disrupting with the defense, getting to the offensive glass, and knocking down threes. But it was the shot attempts. There you see Jared Butler off the dribble. Gonzaga had a really tough time defending the Baylor Bears guards individually. You knew that was a possibility, and it proved to be a reality in the first half. Spacing, dribble drive, excellent fluidity on offense, and the Zags had no answers. Caught in mismatches, and the three-point shots fell 7 for 12 for Baylor. The way the Zags cut a 19-point lead, though, they did get in transition a bit and worked the free throw line by getting Baylor into the penalty, but it was an impressive first half by the Bears.
Take a look at the first half storylines here. Gonzaga, as we said, trailed by as many as 19. Jalen Suggs, 7 points, 3 turnovers, 9 offensive rebounds for Baylor. What stands out to you in that first half, Chuck?
Well, Baylor's guards are as good as advertised. They are fantastic. Their bench was amazing. They're shooting 60% from three. It's been amazing. They got 9 offensive rebounds, but I tell you what, your Coach Few, a lot of credit. He made a subtle adjustment. He went to a zone. That's when they got back in the game. You know, he's like, we can't guard these guys. My best player got in foul trouble. First of all, he got to be smart. He can't pick up 2 fouls the first minute of the game. But a subtle adjustment going to the zone, that's when they made their run. But the main thing is they got to find a way to keep them off the boards. You have to sell yourself as a coach, guys. Those guys are tough, but they're not going to shoot 60% from three the entire game.
What are we looking at, Kenny?
Well, you hope they don't. You hope they don't. I agree with you. But, you know, you look at Baylor, you know, it's a story. They went to athletes or us to get their players. And they got some smart players, smart athletes. But what they did, they just put pressure on the defense. And then once they extended the defense, if you're Gonzaga, freeze it here. Normally, Timmy's able to come out, help, and they're able to recover. But because of the quickness and athletes and smart play of Baylor, they're not able to. Then they get layups early on. And when layups go, then your threes go. Then on defensive end, look at the pressure. Freeze it here. Hey, there's no COVID restriction here, brother. We in your face. We're up on you. This is unlike anyone is able to do to Gonzaga all year. They put the pressure on. Now freeze it again. The post is too high, you get a pass, and we're up to the races. We can let it go from there. And then lastly, if you're Gonzaga, you say, hey, you know what? Athletes are us. We're going to, like Chuck said, we're going to go to this zone. We're going to slow things up. We can't stay in front of you. And now we can play passing lanes and get in transition because we can't guard you the way we thought we could one-on-one. Maceo T, Butler, and Mitchell were too dynamic in the early going to guard off the dribble. Went back to the zone. Charles, great point, great adjustment.
But you know, Greg, one thing about sports that people don't realize, the game, like they look at one play down the stretch that won a game or lost a game. Baylor played terrific. They should be up more than 10. They should be up more than 10. They played a fantastic first half. They're going to regret if they lose this game. That's a long way down the line. They should not be only up 10.
Gonzaga certainly showing they can take a punch and then come charging back.
Yeah, they actually gave up 16 more shot attempts Baylor had than Gonzaga did. The free throw line, though, kept the Zags along with the zone adjustment in this ball game. But it was the activity on the offensive glass. Again, plus 16 in field goal attempts. That's a combination of doing what the Baylor Bears did on the offensive glass and then converting those into second chance points. But also defensively, they turned the Zags over. Look at this activity. Everybody locked into the ball handler, rotating, deflections, block shots. The defense was outstanding, forcing the Zags into 8 turnovers. Here, offensive rebound again. You get the first shot missed, the Zags unable to convert on the defensive board. Again, plus 16 in field goal attempts in 20 minutes, and only down 10. To your point, Chuck, the Zags have to feel good that they've got something they can work with now in the second half.
So do you start the second half in the zone or not is the question.
I would not.
Okay, tell me why.
Only because I wouldn't want my players to feel passive.
Okay.
I might go the first possession in man, then the second possession go. But that first possession, I want that blood flowing,
coming out,
get him going.
Good call. I'd agree with that. That's a great way to look at it. And then you've got to do a job on the boards. If you're going to force this team that shot it so well all season long to miss, you can't give them a second shot, and that's really hurt Gonzaga in the first half.
For the national championship after 20 minutes, it is Baylor by 10 over Gonzaga, 47-37. Back with more AT&T at the half after this.
Dear college sports,
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
Championship since 1992. Welcome back, everybody. As we look ahead to this second half, what kind of an adjustment is going to be made?
Well, I think Baylor has to do what it's been doing. They've been superb. Attacking mismatches, knocking down threes, rebounding the ball effectively. Gonzaga has to rebound the ball, finish the defensive possession with that, and continue to attack inside and limit the turnovers.
Well, congratulations to Stanford Cardinals. I know my girl Roz is going crazy, Archbishop Malloy's finest. But I think overall what you have to do is control the pace. Now that Suggs has gotten through to the first half without getting his third, Chuck, if he can control the pace, not let it get up. Actually, not let it get up and down.
No, he got to let it get up and down. When you're down, you can't play scared because the shot don't get on your back.
I think I want to be down 3 or up 3 with 10 minutes to go.
Shout out to Coach Vandermeer. Great job. My Arizona Wildcats living in Arizona, great season.
It sure was.
We almost made them pay for leaving me out the video. Greg, I think it's going to be a big decision. Foul trouble is going to be important. They got to push the ball. They got to get this game sped up. They got to get more field goal attempts because clearly they can't stop Baylor. Baylor's going to get a good shot every time. The only way to stop them is you get some more shots. You can't get beat by 16 shots in the second half.
I agree with that.
And you got to control the boards.
It is 47-37. Baylor in the lead. Gonzaga's perfect season on the line. We'll have 20 more minutes. Crowning another national champion. Right now, let's send it over to our special contributor, Lily, to uncomplicate all things March Madness.
The Bleacher Report app is home to all the action from around the tournament. Find your community by following your teams. Fan easier, fan faster, fan better. Download the Bleacher Report app today. Halftime with the score. Baylor 47, Gonzaga 37. We'll return to Lucas Oil Stadium after these messages. You're watching CBS Sports.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's National Championship game is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Lexus. Experience amazing. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Wendy's, the official breakfast of March Madness.
Here's a look at our Reese's Peanut Butter Cups first half stats. Only one made three by Gonzaga. That was by Kispert. And Baylor, by the way, Vidal had 5 rebounds. All of them were offensive. We saw a flurry at the end of the first half by the Bulldogs. What must they do to get all the way back?
Well, to get all the way back, they got to get stops, first of all, and get out in transition, Jim, where they thrive in the open court. Get out there and score before this defense of the Bears gets set up. They can do that. They have a chance here, Bill.
And you saw number 2 at the rim, running the floor. Timmy, big time, getting himself available. You're right, they got to rebound, push it, against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament. They didn't have good defensive transition. Let's see if that happens.
Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot. I had a chance to speak with Mark Few, who told me that Baylor was just dominant and way more aggressive on both sides of the ball. He said, we can't be passive. We need to attack the basket instead of going sideways and be tougher on the defensive end. Gonzaga has hardly played zone all season. They did down the stretch, and they will continue to mix it up in the second half.
They were down 9-0, just 2.5 in. They got to 19 several times and then started chipping away, making 8 of their last 11 from the field.
And Jim, they can't have a bad start. If they want it, they'll take the starch out of them.
And the Zags, they took the best shot from the Bears, and they're still standing. And you're right, a good start here with this 1-3-1 zone, which slowed down the Bears there in the first half.
There's Teague stepping away, getting the shot.
Nice rebound, Thamba.
Thamba got it blocked. Kicks it back over to Teague. Teague backing in on Suggs, who has those 2 fouls from the first half. Now Mitchell. 5 to shoot. Butler.
Oh my goodness. Oh, right in the heart. Just surveys the opportunity and then delivers.
His third 3 of the game.
Nobody guards it.
Just, where is everybody?
Points in the paint. Continue to attack offensively if you're Gonzaga, but you got to get stops here on the defensive end.
Ayayi with 6, coming off a 22-point game.
Here they go to the 2-3, away from that 1-3-1.
As you said, Raft, early, that free throw line area is wide open.
They make a living right in there. Boy, that is deep.
Again.
Goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, he's surveying, delivering big time.
Top scorer now for the Bears with 16.
Oh, not a good look.
But it's
very lucky.
Suggs. It was off the hands of Butler, who knew he had it.
Once again, the ability to cut. That is their format for success.
You have to have a Butler awareness in this zone. They're switching back now to man-to-man. Smart by the Zags.
Nice. Thamba. Cross screen, he's got to finish that.
Timmy comes running out with it, up ahead. Nembhard finds Suggs, pitches it back. Kispert. Good one, and off the floor, it's Mitchell. 3 on 2. Races to the hole for 2.
Got to stop the ball right there defensively for Gonzaga. You can't let Mitchell get all the way to the rim there.
A nice denial by Thamba. They get the foul late.
Well, it took a while.
Yeah, it sure did. Maybe the whistle was just not heard. But that's what he does best. He gets down the floor. And this kid, unabashed in that attack, loves that left. Big time finish. Just split them, did he?
Yes.
You got 3 on Thamba. You got 3 on Chachua. Nembhard had a good look from the corner. They've had 2 good 3 looks. Nembhard missed one, Kispert the other.
Look at him handle it fine.
Dishes.
We heard his shoulder too, Kispert. On the yank.
How about Butler? He was showing his range earlier, getting downhill in the paint, no look pass. I mean, he is showing off here why he is so dynamic and explosive for his ball club.
He's turning this into Butler Fieldhouse.
Which we're not far from. A great visit there. 60% free throw shooter.
Up. Kispert, he's coming out.
They're going to check his arm, I think.
And he picked up the second foul.
Got a stinger, I think. He's holding that pretty good. That's the strength of Thamba.
And gets his first point of the night.
Yeah, that eliminates a three-point shooter with Kispert on the bench, too.
Suggs in the paint. Made it look easy.
Great screen down low there by Watson, sealing.
They do that great.
Continue to weave on the perimeter.
He's got the matching watch right now.
Watson on him.
Don't reach, you're going to get a foul.
Gets around him. Feeds the corner. Vital.
It's not quite his game.
You live with that if you're Gonzaga.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suggs, bounce pass. Fortunate to get it to Yayi. Timmy, dish, Suggs, and one.
Timmy can make plays. Just give him a chance.
And that's the fire that Few was looking for. Suggs' reaction after making the basket and getting the foul.
And how smart was he to jump, stop, and knock over two defenders?
Fourth foul on Thamba. And he looks in the direction of the Gonzaga fan base. And first fiery kind of look of the night by anybody on Gonzaga as Kispert's back on the floor for Watson.
They got to stoke the fire. You're right, Jim. They got to get emotionally involved in this game. They are playing a talented club. Chachima, much better screener, I think. There's that little double. They haven't run that all game. They circle it and curl.
Back over to Butler.
Sidestep.
Gets the separation. And that goes back to Gonzaga.
And right now in the second half, it's really been all Butler for Baylor. No one else really has scored right now. And obviously the defense has picked up for Gonzaga on the last few possessions.
Suggs. Again driving in, just a little too strong with it. He's been able to penetrate in the second half.
That's what he wants now. It's tough to help off him.
Teague steps back. Rattles out. Kispert up ahead.
This is the pace they want, though. Edwards really had trouble with the ball a few times. Mishandle. Not in his comfort zone.
Myers going to come on the floor. Flagler as well. Yeah, just inexplicably lost it.
Pace right now, Zag's advantage, don't you think?
Yeah, this is how they want to play. Get out in transition, get up and down. They're getting stops, though, on the defensive end, which is so important. They got to convert, though, when they get those stops. It's a two-man game right here. Oh. Great defense by Watson.
Got the under 16. We got a national championship on the line. Baylor seeing its 19-point lead trimmed. But it's getting intense here in the second half in Indianapolis.
The Capital One saver.
Well, Butler, what a start for him to this second half. He's hit 4 out of 7 from outside. He's got 16, top scorer in the game.
And that's what makes them so tough. They don't have to rely on one guy every game. Others can provide a big-time lift. There's that 4-around-1 small lineup. Everybody can shoot. Nice little dive to the rim.
Oh, wow, Chachua.
But they are asleep defensively.
Boy, does Scott Drew draw one up during that timeout.
He is a great screener out there. It rolls quickly
to Watson.
And Raft on that last play there. When they go 4-around-1, you cannot help on the weak side. Just throw it up to the big fella. And Chachuba goes and gets it in a beautiful finish. But when Meyer is on the floor and you have those shooters in spacing for Baylor, you have to pick your poison and make a decision there defensively.
2 shots for Watson. And now Timmy coming in for a Yayi. Timmy tonight, 10 points on 4 out of 5 from the floor, 4 rebounds.
We haven't seen much in the tournament, Watson and Timmy on the floor at the same time. Interesting substitution right there by Few.
Well, he's got Meyer, and it's a tough matchup as he drags him away from the goal. And now he's got Flagler. That's even more difficult. This is your worst nightmare, trying to stop that kid.
To Teague.
Bad foul. That far out. Number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. Of course, Timmy was in foul trouble on Saturday night never did foul out.
Ryan, of course, stepped in, took a lot of courage to pick that charge up.
Bill, is so impressive, though, how Baylor is patient. And they just find that mismatch and then try to take advantage of it.
Talk about the draw charge. One of the top two up there with Terry Cannon in North Carolina State.
Oh, yes.
83.
It's
There you go,
Drexler.
Terry. Yes, Clyde is fourth.
Well, you're reminiscing again, huh?
And there's Mitchell.
Nice save.
TG's a friend. I had to give him a little pop. Here we go with Gonzaga now. Try and race it up the floor.
Number, what, 4 on him? On Big John?
Yeah, they've got now 2 players with 4 fouls.
He is an integral part with his screening and rolling. He and Thamba are going to come smaller with Vital.
Yep. They've made Chachua and Thamba most of the season kind of interchangeable, but now both out with 4.
And Raph, with the substitution now with Chachua out, you have to go inside to Timmy. Let him go to work against the smaller Vital.
That is how they do it. They start with the ball screen, generally dives to the box, gets the mismatch he wants. The timing hasn't been good.
Nemhart waits and gets it.
Woohoo! Showing some strength too with the discard.
Down to single digits. The last time it was under 10. Baylor led 13-4. 5 minutes into the game. Sucks. Hits the floor and recovers.
And they don't get back to cover Vital.
Unbelievable.
Oh, goodness. That is just killing them. That analysis.
Vital having a nice game. Timmy on the floor, tied up. Nope, they don't call it. Picked off the floor by Butler. Wants to challenge Nemhart. Got a bump with the body. Going to be a 2-shot situation.
They have mishandled the ball on numerous occasions at the other end and scrambling and uppering and really getting after it. A pretty good save here to get rid of it, but it initiates a fast break.
Well, Raph, they've been mishandling it because of the defensive pressure of Baylor.
That's the 4th turnover on Timmy in this game. He's lost the handle a couple of times. 2 for Butler. The UEFA Champions League quarterfinals kicks off tomorrow. Man City versus Dortmund. Real Madrid versus Liverpool. You can stream every match live on Paramount Plus.
We've got some great-looking stroke.
First consensus All-America by way of Baylor in school history. First team All-America delivering tonight.
Nice. There you go.
Able to get around Butler at the other end.
A little counterpoint, same kind of situation. Screen roll, find the big.
Of course, for Gonzaga, Raph, they have to figure out how to defend this high screen roll. The Bears have just picked it apart offensively. Here it comes.
There you go. Teague was waiting for it to develop. Wasn't there. Now challenges. Puts it up. Oh, what a shot. Just under Timmy.
Wow. Went at the big fella.
They are just incredible around the rim, the perimeter guys.
Kisper now driving and rejected. And Baylor's on a break.
Smart move here. Little delay.
Flagler. Splash.
Killer.
They've opened it back up big again.
Do they have answers? Activity defensively. Run out. Nyla. Flagler. Ringing the bell big time.
Well, there's a reason the Baylor Bears led the country in three-point shooting, because they got plenty of guys who can fill it up, and fill it up indeed. Butler, Flagler, second half, right when Gonzaga was making a run, they answered with the three-point attack from the Bears.
And they got an army, an arsenal, and Dan and brother Bryce is meditating there. Right?
Bryce looks nervous.
Yeah. Chris Homer, great coach in his own right.
Yeah, Scott, of course, is understudy for 10 years, then took over head coach for him for 1 year at Valpo before going to Baylor. Now Suggs. Yayi driving on Meyer. Tough shot. Got it.
And boy, really nice defensive scheme. Just didn't come up with it.
There's Butler. Easily to the paint. Vital with the 6th offensive rebound.
And how about the play of Vital? The energy, the activity on the glass. As you said, Jim, 6 offensive rebounds. Little things course, Butler getting to the paint at will. Vital just keeping that possession alive. His intensity paying off for the Bears.
Teague's going out. Butler to inbound.
Got to move and help him out.
All the way back to Meyer. Seeing that shot of Homer Drew. We asked Scott what his father taught him about basketball, winning at this level. He said it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
I had the Sams and the Harrys on that.
Yayi broke early, but Nimhart didn't go with it. Suggs.
This defense, they don't get credit for it because they're so efficient on the offensive end, but they get down in the stance, they help one another, they space, they jam, they recover, just sensational.
And Mitchell gets all that credit as Defensive Player of the Year, but collectively, they all commit to playing defense, like you said, Raph.
Suggs.
Look at that defense collectively. Look at this cut.
Wide open is Butler, and Kispert skies and throws it behind his back, right to Mitchell, to Butler, and Timmy then commits the foul, which will be his third. You trying to figure out some answers. Still trying to solve it. Still trying to figure out a way to get back into it. Got it down to 9, but since that time, a 9-4 stretch. And problem solving. It's tough against this Baylor bunch.
They're so solid on both ends of the floor. They look a step off, I think, all night. Just not reacting like you normally see this Gonzaga team, but attributable to this really sound defensive scheme. Tough kids, Baylor.
Great kid here at the line, Butler to shoot 2. I was talking to David Kay, their fine sports information director. He said he'll be a future athletic director. Trust me, after he has a great playing career, he'll be back and doing something like that, leading the university's athletic department. While I'm at it, just want to thank David Kay, Barrett Henderson from Gonzaga, Alex Timoreos from UCLA, Jeff Conrad, the Conrad Cam from the University of Houston. They represented their school so well and helped us in a year when we had very little access. As Timmy drives in.
Offense.
Oh boy, that's going to be now 4 on him.
Wow, that changes everything.
Talk about help side defense right there. Meyer, he sniffed that out, got in there, feet set. Was able to draw that charge, and as you said, Timmy's going to have to sit down right now.
They're always in the right spot. By the way, you mentioned Butler being an AD. I think he'll be taking a cut in pay, though, after about 10 or 11 years in the league.
A long time from now.
Nice pin down. Well, they've run little wrinkles. It's not all the ball screen. Look at that fill. What a cut. Right to the gut. Heads up play. 24. Really on the ropes here.
Look at Mitchell.
Yayi. And Baylor up 18 with possession. Gonzaga's missed its last 6 from 3. And again, just a 1-for-9 performance tonight from out there.
And Mitchell's clearing out right here. He wants this mismatch on Watson.
Got a little hand check, reach in. What else can you do?
You said it best. I mean, he goes left a lot.
Loves it.
Oh, you've been doing your scouting report.
Well, you told me I better shape up. Timmy, of course, saddled with those fouls, really takes a major dimension of their offensive flow.
One more for Mitchell. And his father loves what he's seeing.
And I'll tell you, this kid is just a great understanding and feel. He's explosive.
Now to 20. Biggest lead of the night.
They have stepped up their defensive pressure, too.
Suggs. Finally, another 3 drops. for the Bulldogs. Just their second one.
Their bread and butter right here.
The spacing offensively, letting Butler go to work.
Look at this step back.
Goodness.
Yayi spins away after the rebound to Watson. Look at Mitchell's hands. Look at how quick he is.
They don't give up. Incredible.
I mean, the speed, the athleticism, and not quitting up big. Still fighting, still making that extra effort on the defensive end. Scott Drew pleased with his performance of his guys, and he just rotates them in, keeps them fresh with that depth he has on the bench.
Could have been an offensive foul. Watson.
Here's Kispert.
Look at the way they get after it. Solid checkouts, two-handed rebounds. He's an old book.
Under 10 minutes to go, and the perfect season is on life support.
They can use clock a little bit more. He's trying to put it all together on that attack to the rim.
Trying to show the guards that he can make plays too.
Their centers have been magnificent, lost control of it. Otherwise, you would have had that big-time highlight.
Third foul on Watson. Boy, I just can't help but sit here on this night and think about what Scott Drew has done, what he has built, what this program has done, the steps it's taken. It's just, you can't find a rebuild maybe to compare.
No. I was down there early in his career. We spoke about it the other night with Jim Simpson and Judd Heathcote. He brought it up on our Zoom. And the question by Judd was, why would you take this job? Goodness.
Timmy is on the floor.
Getting stretched out.
Nembhard.
Look at this harassing.
Suggs, step back three. Good looking shot there.
Still a tough shot, contested. The defense of Baylor. It's just a textbook performance by these Bears.
19 for Suggs, 12 coming here in the second half.
Everything tough and difficult for Gonzaga. The intensity just incredible by Baylor.
Use the clock, but they're still in their motion.
The mismatch again.
With 5. Butler.
And nobody in the back to protect. Got a foul, too. Thamba.
Go over to Tracy. That's going to be it for Thamba.
Well, Jim, before Timmy picked up that fourth foul, I noticed that he was favoring that left hip, and as soon as he came to the bench, he talked with the athletic trainer, took some medicine, and is now being stretched out on that bench over on the floor. They will certainly need him down the stretch if they want to get back in this, so I will keep you updated as soon as we get any more information, but something certainly to watch.
Okay, Trace, again, Thamba just fouled out. Vital back on the floor for the Bears.
And if Timmy can go, I think you have to put him back in there.
I think when he dove on the floor that time, he may have hurt himself. Good dribble drive.
Nembhard.
Hey, he's going every time.
Just doesn't give up on the play, though. He's not going to let you get there. He's going to trap your arms. This is a glue guy. Special ops.
His third foul. Nembhard, whose brother Ryan at Monteverde Academy won a national high school championship just a couple of days ago. So they're trying to get 2 championships in a matter of days in the family's brother hit a key 3 down the stretch.
He did. I watched a little of that game. I think he's going to Creighton.
Yes, signed for Creighton.
Look at this.
Post bump empty.
Boy, so many weapons. All can handle. All can stretch the D. Better check Vital on the rebound, too.
Now with 5. Works it underneath.
He was out of bounds.
Vital was out of bounds.
And wasn't forced out. Or did his momentum take him out? As we found the other night when Suggs
Good call right on top of it. When Suggs' momentum carried him out of bounds. To finish that thought.
Flagler comes in. That's the first turnover of the second half for the Bears. That's how they play.
Mitchell front and fight inside, too. Nice cut.
To Yayi.
Oh, goodness.
Thought that was a jump ball.
I did, too. They're all over.
They are.
Foul ball on Flagler, and a break in the action. Under 8 to go. They have been, from the very opening tip, in control of this one. Baylor, intense, on fire, executing at both ends, and leading it 75-59, trying again to deny Gonzaga the perfect season. The one we haven't seen since 1976 and Indiana, 45 years ago. Where some call this stadium the house that Peyton built. And Indianapolis's all-time sports icon was born just a couple of days before Indiana completed the perfect season that very week down in New Orleans to Olivia and Archie Manning.
How about that?
Wow. First player with 20 points, plus 7, or at least 7 assists in a national championship game since Carmelo.
How about that?
0-3.
Rarefied air right there.
Absolutely. Or with that jump in the corner.
Timmy back on the floor. Saw that.
Goodness.
Another missed opportunity at the line.
Yeah. Last 3 in a row. Empty. This team is connected, though. Boy, they are impressive. Everybody's a threat with the dribble drive. The shot. Vital just does his job.
Fire. To Mitchell. Watch out. Tapped out. Nembhard.
The Zags got to thrive here in transition. Get an easy basket. Recovery by the Bears.
Kispert, they needed it.
What a find, too. Suggs with the kick. Pretty good location. You never know.
13-point game.
They got to make them think a little now, Baylor. Should I take this shot? Reverse the pressure a little bit with a good stop.
Come on, man.
Vital got thrown to the floor. Wanted a foul call. Was pleading his case. Teague tapped around.
Look at this kid.
Vital. What a presence on the offensive glass.
Jim, you're right. He just knows where to go to defend or help. Goodness, what can I do for you, Coach?
About 7 offensive rebounds, Rat.
It's unbelievable. 5 in the first half.
4th foul on Nembhard. So you got 4 on him, 4 on Timmy.
Just does his homework early, though. Plus that size, that big body. Reminds me of Charles Barkley the way he carves out that area.
Well, do you know that Barkley is his all-time idol, Charles? And Chuck heard that a couple of years ago, and as you know, heart of gold, picked up the phone and called him.
How about that? That doesn't surprise me at all.
Just made his year.
What's going on with Charles makes everybody's year. And a bad day the next day.
That's what we say about you.
Watched it. No room to talk.
They got to go through Timmy a little bit. Ball screen, get into the box, get the mismatch they want.
If not, got to attack, get to the paint, create opportunities.
Up and down, yeah, what a closeout. Boy, they're so efficient and solid.
Butler forced that turnover.
And that's an All-American right there in Kispert.
Exactly.
You said that closeout by Butler, helping on the roll, getting out to the shooter, and forcing another Gonzaga turnover.
Nice steal on the hole. That's got to be a flagrant one.
Yeah.
And boy, that's a big turn of events here.
Butler comes over to dispute the call, but right on the spot, they make it.
Of course, in your days too, I guess they'd call it an intentional foul, but it's flagrant one now.
Right. Gene, any question about this?
No, I don't think there can be, Jim, because the breakaway is happening so quick, and Suggs has a free shot to the basket. Butler reacts, but the grab on the shoulder, which is restricting him from getting the breakaway, you've got to call that, as Raf said, it's an intentional foul in the old day by its definition. They call it a flagrant one now, but it's a call you've got to make.
Goodness, the free throws
Suddenly can't hit the free throws.
Could have been a potential 5-point play, you know. A little bit of the zone look. He was a zone guy in his early coaching days. Scott Drew, a little matchup, point out, looks like a 1-3-1, morphs to a 2-3, and they will switch to man too. Look at the closeouts.
Timmy. Tough shot. Way short, and Baylor just lets it go out.
And Raf, they run their zone like a man-to-man defense. I mean, it's impressive how they just cover for each other, multiple efforts. It's
very well said.
Beautiful to watch.
Not necessarily to play against.
Not Finland.
That's right.
Great point.
Teague.
Well, they are so good in that area of the floor, all of them.
Teague now with 18. Suggs.
Tough shot.
Trying to bank one again.
Who's got hurt?
Yeah, you got hurt.
Oh, boy.
Up ahead. And Suggs is going to pick up his third. Kispert runs back to help his teammate.
It looked like Ayayi kind of ran into Timmy on that play. Going for an offensive rebound. Both were going for it. And
leg buckle. Oh, my goodness. That's a great leg. Whew. I know you're cringing with your ankle situation over your career.
That's his ankle or his knee right there. Did not look good.
Meanwhile, Baylor goes to the line, having hit its last 11 free throws. Teague. That was automatic after that stat.
Yeah, exactly. Hope you don't do that over putts this week.
I'll be careful.
I mean, this Baylor team looks so fresh and energized. Like they could go play another game tonight. I mean, they just...
That's how they looked Saturday, too, against Houston.
I think having the three centers really helps them. And, of course, the ability to go off the bench and knock shots down by Meyer and by... Look at the hands by Big Jonathan. And he runs right to the rim.
7th steal by the Bears.
Butler will use clock here.
Gotta help off of Vital.
There's Mitchell.
Leaving him alone.
He knows the situation's got time, throws it short. Not in time with that one.
Once again, Vital, though, on the glass. He's everywhere.
He knows his job.
Star in your role.
Absolutely knows for the basketball.
So I'm trying to think of a championship game like this one, where a team came out 9-0 and 29-10.
Oh, look at this.
Another turnover.
Oh, they said it was deflected.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
You can think of anything like this?
No,
I can't.
In the final?
Wow.
Kispert.
One and done now. But Vital. Defensively, offensively on that board. Tower of strength. This kid can embarrass you, can he?
He was just setting it up the whole time.
Get the lingerie on the deck. Call the janitor.
Kispert with the left hand. But just 3:40 to go. We'll spend some more time.
You mentioned roles. They do know their role. The big guys, what they can do to help the cause. And this is the one. Mark Few's going to be thinking about how to handle that ball screen.
And that will stay with Baylor. And reality, fellas, is beginning to set in.
Sure is.
Absolutely.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's National Championship game is sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? The all-new 2021 Ford F-150. Microsoft Teams. Where there's a team, there's a way. And by Coca-Cola Cherry Vanilla. Unbelievably delicious.
At Baylor University, I did not come to go to the NCAA tournament. We came to win games at the NCAA tournament. We came with the chance to win a national championship at Baylor University.
That was August 22nd, 2003, at his introductory press conference. I mean, just outrageous to say that. They had just the program in shambles. It took them, of course, they knew it would. They've won 21 games total the first 3 years. But true to his word, he's 318 away from that incredible prescient comment at his introduction.
And how proud is his family at the performance that he has done coaching and lifting this program. Incredible, Jim.
If you were at that
Prophetic.
press conference, we would be touching one another, saying, what is this guy thinking? Right?
We say that with you sometimes.
Rightfully so.
Had to be thinking that. Like, how can you make that claim?
He knew.
He knew.
Prophetic.
And a great coach. Let's take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance and Raft. Your idea during a break to name a university after him here in Indianapolis might be a little bit too much, but what a performance.
Well, this is one that you can't blame the butler. This is, he's the reason, the mainstay. He stepped up big time. They just put you on your heels, drill those deep ones, or do a little blow by and get to the rim.
Look at that. Talk about blow by. He didn't finish.
That kid's dynamite.
Look at Chechua inside, just battling with Timmy.
He plays with a lot of it. Look at this. Doesn't give up on the play. And they've been a step off all evening long, the Zags.
Nemhard.
I want it.
This is a team that had a 3-week break because of COVID during the season. A lot of folks thought they could have been undefeated if they hadn't had the break.
Came back, didn't play well against KU. A lot of people do.
They start over basically as Mitchell banks it home.
They found their stride here in the tournament, saving the best for last.
People talk about conferences all year. They played in a great conference, competitive every night. Boy, they are on top of their game.
About Scott Drew, most coaches dream of having one good point guard. They essentially have 3 out there on the court.
And you don't like Flagler? We'll throw him in the bird. That might be 4.
He's not out there right now.
No, you're right. You're right. They have just been magnificent.
Tapped. Suggs. 2 more. With just 1:25 to go, the Baylor Nation that made its way to Indianapolis on his feet, realizing that April the 5th in Indianapolis is going to be good to their school for the second time. 16 years ago tonight, the Baylor women's team won their first national title on April the 5th, 2005 in this city.
I praise for both programs, obviously.
Butler.
Fuck out of here.
Coming up next, did all of tonight's highlights and analysis, plus the trophy presentation, as well as one shining moment on Inside March Madness, presented by Buick.
Now you can just see the Gonzaga kids, shoulders down, head slumping.
How do you frame it, guys? What they did this season, what they did Saturday night, and then to have this performance tonight.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, obviously not finishing the deal here tonight, so disappointing for them, but the season they had, the adversity, COVID protocols, to be able to weather that storm, carry that title at #1 all season, incredible. Just came up short here against a very talented Baylor Bears.
Yeah, you can't lose sight of what Gonzaga's done all year long. Just played a team that were on top of their game, a step quicker. And boy, the hugging. How gratifying that is. And Jim, both teams were hugging one another as well, which tells you the respect they have for both programs.
Great sportsmanship.
Got a smile. Scott Drew, what a job he and his staff have done.
And now they'll take out Butler. Pryor will come in for him. Turner's on the floor. Loveday, Peterson, and Moffitt. Incredible work. And meanwhile, on the other end, the first undefeated team since '79 to make it to the championship. Indiana State didn't win that night, and Salt Lake City either.
I'll tell you what, it just proves and shows you how hard it is to do what Indiana did back in the 70s. Pulling off a perfect season. So difficult.
I see the pain on Mark Few as we check out those undefeated teams that lost.
You know, Indiana, when they had the perfect season, they knew, of course, what they'd accomplished, but undefeated seasons, as you get the outside shot from Strother, there were a bunch of them in a row, including UCLA had 4 in a span, and like every 5 or 6 years you'd have one. Now it's been 45 years and counting.
This kid can shoot too, by the way. He doesn't get much tired. He can make threes.
The steal by Peterson.
Still well coached though, right?
Yeah.
Doing the right thing.
This will do it. This will do it. Scott Drew's dream comes true. Coach Drew and Baylor complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship. Gonzaga huddles together one last time as a team.
The heartbreak they must feel, but they just ran into a buzzsaw. This team, Jesus, talk about Butler or any of the others. The preparation, the defensive scheme, they're not afraid of the moment, any of them.
Not afraid at all. The contrast and emotions on display here. The celebration, the feeling of dejection from Gonzaga. We have a new champion. And Scott Drew said he found the calling on Friday. He is a champion indeed here Monday night.
We came to win games in the NCAA tournament, he said back in '03, that clip we played. We came here with a chance to win the NCAA championship. And tonight in Indianapolis, they've done that in resounding fashion.
Vital taking a rest after 8 offensive rebounds. He deserves it. 11 rebounds all total.
Hey, this is what he wanted to do. He signed with them after his sophomore year in high school.
I guess he wanted to go there.
He wanted to be a part of it, came back an extra year. He's 24 years old, but coming back and winning a championship.
Sure did.
They absolutely dominate Saturday and Monday and proved to the nation that they are the best in the land, the 2021 national champions, Baylor University Bears. Studios coming up next.
Okay,
Here in Indianapolis, Indiana, we have a new champion. Not the Gonzaga Bulldogs, but the Baylor Bears, who have won their first championship ever. Inside March Madness, presented by Buick, is next. Here in Lucas Oil Stadium, we are about ready to crown a champion, and that will be the Baylor Bears. They are winners over the Gonzaga Bulldogs by a score of 86-70. Welcome to Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. Greg Gumbel alongside Clark Kenny and Charles. Clark, you and I were just talking about in making your predictions, you guys assumed that all things are going to continue to be as they were. That wasn't the case with Baylor tonight.
It was all about Baylor. They disrupted Gonzaga from the start and played its game, which is making threes, defending at a high level, killing the offensive glass. Congratulations to the Baylor Bears. They were fantastic, wire to wire dub. There was no doubt who was the best team tonight.
Yeah, hard to argue with what they did.
Congratulations to Gonzaga for their efforts for the almost undefeated season. But there's a difference between leaving the house and leaving with urgency. Baylor left the house with urgency. They got to the shooters with urgency. They got to the rim with urgency, which is a big difference. I think that's something that Gonzaga, Chuck, had not seen in a while.
Well, listen, this is a cruel business of sports.
Yeah.
It's a cruel business. I feel for those kids. Because they had to get to the finish line to get the credit they deserve. But Baylor was the better team. This is a business of hurt.
Yeah.
Kenny hurt me twice. And I know the pain that the Zags are going through, but man, it doesn't take away from what Coach Field, what they've done. I feel for them, but listen, me and Clark talk, they couldn't have beat that team. And when they're making threes like that, the way they play defense, they couldn't keep them off the offensive board. They were the better team.
34 straight games now. Baylor has won when making 10 or more threes. They hit 10 of them tonight. Let's take a look at the envisioned greatness play of the day, presented by Buick. Talk about terrific teamwork. How about the block by Vital, which led to the three by Flagler? And that's pretty much the way things went for the Baylor Bears tonight as they claim their first ever national championship. Let's send it over to Jim Nance now. He will have the pleasure of presenting the trophy to Baylor University. Jim.
Well, Greg, thank you. Charles is talking about a whole lot of hurt, but there's a whole lot of happiness down here with the Baylor Bears, the national champions. Mitch Barnhart is here. He's the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. Mitch, congratulations to you and everyone associated with this tournament for how you pulled off this amazing championship here in Indianapolis. And it's time now to present the trophy.
Thank you. On behalf of the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee, we'd like to thank all the people of Indiana for putting on this wonderful tournament. At this time, we'd also like to congratulate Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs on a wonderful season. It is our privilege and honor at this time to award the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Trophy to head coach Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears.
Scott, congratulations. Just an incredible beginning to this game, and you guys never let up. Put that trophy in your hands. It's all yours. I know you can't hear me. I'm going to get a little bit closer, but tell us about the start to this game.
Well, I can tell you that our guys have been motivated all year. It's a player-led team. We're so blessed to have unbelievable upperclassmen and leadership. But we play with a culture of joy, and that's Jesus, others, yourself. They came out, and they fed off of each other. We got off to a great start, and then defensively, we're pretty good.
What did you think the difference was here tonight? What was the difference here tonight? What was the difference here tonight?
Well, I don't know if there was a difference from the standpoint prior to COVID. Us in Gonzaga were on the track to be undefeated.
And I got so much respect for Coach Few. He's such a humble servant coach and a Hall of Fame coach in what they've done this year. Let's give Gonzaga a round of applause for what they did. Let's give them a round of applause. But if you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, this is a program that back in 1948 played the national championship game, had been in the Final Four.
Yeah, we weren't alive.
In 1950, you weren't alive. But the rebound, I called it, and the rebuild, the best in college basketball history. We played the soundbite of you at your introductory press conference saying that you were coming to Waco to win a national championship. And here it is. What did it take to do that?
I prayed about it. I felt led. God has blessed us with unbelievable players, the people that have come for 18 years to put in work, our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
It's just the second ever in men's basketball for the state of Texas with Texas Western. But you look at
when they did a movie, Texas Western,
Yes,
Glory
they
Road.
did.
And
Glory
John Lee
Road.
Hancock promised us when we won a national championship, we were getting a movie. Yeah!
Hey, tell us about what some of the guys did here tonight. Vital hitting the offensive glass, Maceo hitting shots, Davion doing his thing, Butler, we called it Butler Fieldhouse here tonight, the way he was playing. Tell us about that.
Hey, all year long, this is what they do. We have a starting rotation, and each night might be someone different, but they've sacrificed for each other all year long. And I've said this, if you're going to be in the bubble for 3-4 weeks, you better be with people you love. And spending time with these guys, 20, 25, 30 years, our coaching staff will enjoy most spending time with them. They're unbelievable people, great basketball players, better people.
Coach, congratulations. I know how much it means to all of you, your family here, back in Indianapolis where you graduated from Butler, but you brought Baylor a national championship. Congratulations, Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears, the national champions. One shiny moment still to come, in the studio will continue after this.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's
One venture card double-double of the day, and a pretty good double-double it is. Take a look. Jared Butler, 22 points and 6 of 14. Maceo T, 19 points on 8 of 15 from the floor to lead an 86-70 win by the Baylor Bulldogs. Let's take a look at how they did it, CK.
And they started from the start. From the opening tip, it was domination by both of these. Mark Few and Scott Drew greeting one another, but it was all Bears. They came out growling and making plays at both ends of the floor, knocking down shots, getting into the paint, defending with vigor. And everybody was part of the party. There's Jared Butler knocking down one of his triples. Maceo Teague was superb off the dribble, off the catch.
Man, they shot that thing.
They really shot it well, but they got what they wanted, Chuck, and it was really about the speed, tenacity. Gonzaga made a bit of a run at the end of that first half to close a 19-point deficit down to 10, but it started almost the same way in the second half as it did at the start of the game. Zags in the zone, Butler with the deep three. Zags continued to fight, to the Bulldogs' credit, but that defense, Mark Vital was superb on the glass, blocking shots, and then offensively, they got it from everybody. Adam Flagler right there, Kenny.
Yes, indeed. They were great, Clark, but then right here, hesitation. No, I'm not going. Hesitation again. Get to the lane. Finish with the left.
And I tell you what, Kenny, what you said to me downstairs, Baylor does have a weight room.
And everybody knows where it is. And everybody knows where it is.
Baylor has some weight room.
Yes, they do.
And they had a little too much weight for the Zags tonight.
There is your championship final score. Baylor 86-70. Gonzaga's lost their only one of the season. Out on the courts, they're getting ready to cut nets down, courtesy of Werner. Werner proud to provide special edition podium ladders for the net cutting celebration. Werner, the official ladder of NCAA March Madness. While they do that, we will take a timeout Keep in mind, one shining moment just around the corner, and we will continue from Indianapolis here on CBS in just a moment.
I don't know. I mean, I think they look good, man. Smooth.
They are a little tight.
Like, too tight? Might just need to break them in a little bit because you don't want them too loose.
For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
True.
With 24/7 roadside assistance.
Okay. Think I'm gonna wear these home.
Excellent choice.
Baylor fans, on your 2021 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Now you can celebrate the Bears National Championship with the official gear from the NCAA shop at ncaa.com/shop. From hats to t-shirts, for men, women, and kids, the NCAA shop has all your championship accessories. Get your official Baylor University National Championship gear now, only at ncaa.com/shop.
Everyone expected Gonzaga to be accepting the trophy tonight. Baylor had other ideas. 86-70. The Baylor Bears are champions of college basketball. Let's send you to Tracy Wolfson, who talked with Gonzaga head coach Mark Few a few moments ago.
Coach, just a tremendous season, but a struggle from the start tonight. What can you attribute that to?
I mean, just an awesome effort from Baylor. I mean, we couldn't get anything going on either end. We couldn't get consecutive stops on the defensive end, and you know, when we did get stops, it was really hard to generate, you know, offense on the other end consistently because they were just so aggressive with their coverages defensively. We couldn't get any rhythm there, and so I mean, hats off to them. They dominated both ends of the ball pretty much all night.
I know the disappointment that you and your team must be feeling right now. What do you say to them in a time like this?
I mean, listen, I said you can't go 31-0 and get to the last night, you know, and get beat and feel bad about it, okay? I mean, it was just an unbelievable run we've been on. We've led this college basketball from start to finish. All the way back in July, we were number one. So to carry that and the way they handled themselves with the character and class and grace, and they were so easy to coach and so easy to travel with and be with during some really difficult times. So I just said, you know, this will pass, and you got to give Baylor a ton of credit, but just remember what an amazing year, what an amazing accomplishment even getting to this point it was.
We saw Suggs on the court, head in his arms, the hug with you, the embrace, the tears. What did you say to him?
I just thanked him. I mean, I thanked him. He was a warrior till the very end. I mean, the kid's just a flat-out winner, and you know, obviously losing kills him. But I thanked him for being coachable and just for being a winner and such a great representative of Gonzaga basketball.
Well, thank you so much for the time and great season, Coach. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Tracy.
Tracy Wolfson, thank you. We have time for one final thought. The first thing I want to do is reiterate what Jim mentioned out on the ground. I thought Mitch Barnhart and the entire NCAA tournament committee did an incredible job making this tournament come together.
I agree. 2 champion programs. The championship trophy belongs deservedly so to Baylor, but a championship effort by all who contributed to getting us from the start to the end of this season.
Kenny.
Shout out to the players that did a great job. The quarantine that we've only had for 1 week was worth it. These 2 games were incredible.
Thank you to CBS for letting me be part of the March Madness. Never lets me down. Greatest sporting event other than the Olympics I've ever been involved in.
Thank you, guys. That will do it for Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. For Clark, for Charles, for Kenny Smith, for all of the good folks at CBS and Turner, we thank you for being with us. Time now to say goodnight with one shining moment.
And away we go from Indy.
We're ready to run it back for more March Madness.
And the whole dance is right here in the great state of Indiana.
Basketball is woven into the fabric of this city. Let the madness begin.
We've waited 2 years for this, and here we go.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star in all the years. No one knows just how hard you worked. But now
Their first ever NCAA victory.
it's March. Expect the unexpected. In one shining
Watch out!
Believe the unbelievable!
Hey! And the road is long in the blinking of an eye. The moment's gone, and when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside
A little nylon from deep. Bayheim.
in one shining moment, you reached deep inside. One shining moment.
Oral Roberts, the upset makers are history makers.
Another fairy tale ride.
Let's go!
Of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest. It's
Reese. Oh, yeah! Overtime! Bullseye!
From the first four to the final four.
The Cougars are going to the Final Four.
It's been a long time coming.
You always did your best.
They are unbeaten with history in their crosshairs.
In one shining moment, you reached
Mitchell wants another three, and he finds it. Juicy ties it with three. Sox for the win.
Oh, yeah! There are onions, Jim, and then there are nature. Onions with a kiss.
Let's make a little history tonight in Indianapolis.
one shining
Butler,
Oh, right in the heart.
Coach Drew and Baylor complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Is Sports Center at night.
Sick 'em! Baylor is college basketball's new champ, no contest. Gonzaga's perfect season ends as the Bears bring the title back to Texas. We will hear from the champs and the Zags, plus the College Game Day crew on Baylor's win and another missed opportunity for perfection. And man, New York is humming. Jets part with Darnold, Mets debut Lindor, Nets Knicks, and NBA Big Apple battle. Sports Center now.
The Baylor Bears bear down and claim the school's first men's basketball championship.
Yay, Sports Center. It's on your television. Hey, 8 a.m. classes on the Baylor campus, I'm hoping, are optional. 9 o'clock, too, and really, when you think about it, 10 might be pushing it as well. A December date between Gonzaga and Baylor, that didn't work out, which is fine, because that means they saved it for the national championship.
Looks like we just gave away the result. New School Sports Center. New champion, too, and it's the first time for Baylor. Gonzaga out of Spokane, Washington, trying to run the table, trying to finish this perfect season. But Baylor had some decidedly different plans. They got off to a fast start, and it didn't help at all when the hero from that UCLA win, Jalen Suggs, got his second foul in the first 3 minutes of the game, so he's parked for a while. Baylor takes advantage. 5 of 5 from deep, 10 of 23 for the game. A lot of transition points, dunks down under. They're having fun out there. Then Maceo Teague had 19, drains this. 19-point lead was Baylor's largest of the half, biggest deficit Gonzaga had faced all season.
You know, we had no answer as far as keeping some of their guards in front and made a couple of mistakes that we talked about not doing as far as giving them catch and shoot threes or shakedown threes, and they made us pay in a hurry.
Suggs gets back on the floor, trying to close this thing before half. He had 22 in the game and one there. He'd make the free throw. Gonzaga down 10 at the half, seemingly back in it. But Baylor always had an answer. Jared Butler light at 3, finished with 22. Lead is 14, 13 to go. Baylor up 13. Kispert's coming. Mark Vidal resist, and Baylor's going farm to table the other way. Adam Flagler fire away. He was 3 of 4 from 3 land. Baylor's up by a bunch. 4 to go in the game. Baylor's up 17. Davian Mitchell, he had 15 coming to the rack. And Baylor, we're going to Sizzler. They run off. Disappointing for Suggs, and Gonzaga couldn't finish this thing. Scott Drew celebrating with Butler, who was named the most outstanding player. Drew's father, Homer, brother Bryce there to celebrate. Baylor wins its first national. We asked for calm in Waco. You too, Trey Wingo. Baylor gets the title on a Monday night. Vidal had a huge game. You saw that block. I said he had like 40 rebounds. Turns out he had 11, 8 on the offensive end. The rebounding was huge, 38-17 advantage for Baylor. Here's Scott Drew after the title he promised.
When the best is needed, the best is usually provided. And as RG3 would always say, no pressure, no diamonds. And our guys, the better the opponent, the better they play. And they love being the first. First to win conference since 1950. First to win a national championship. I mean, that really motivates them. And when you got a competitor like that and a competitive group like that, really makes it easy to coach.
Yeah, the start of the game was tremendous. I know I didn't, Adam didn't, Mark didn't. We didn't look at the scoreboard. Like, we were just going out there and giving it our all, and we were just gonna let the combos where they fall. And I looked up at halftime. We're up 10. I knew at some point we were up big because I was just like, we're scoring, they're not scoring, and everybody was hitting shots. It was like nobody's gonna miss, but. It's just electrifying, especially in that type of moment in a big game, and everybody stepped up. Like, everybody was, on clicking on all cylinders. Like, that's what it takes to win. So it's amazing.
Baylor, the third team to beat a previous unbeaten team in the national title game, the first since Irvin Johnson and Michigan State took on Larry Bird and Indiana State back in 1979. Baylor's also just the second team from Texas to win it all. First since 1966, when Texas Western took down top-ranked Kentucky. This is what it felt like on the losing side.
Listen, Baylor they just beat us. They beat us in every facet of the game tonight, and deserve all the credit. And obviously, we're all disappointed in here. But as I told the guys, you make it this far, and you're 31-0 going into the last 40 minutes of the season. There's absolutely nothing you should ever feel bad about, and they'll look back on this season as time passes as something just amazing and incredible. But again, just hats off to Baylor. They dominated us on both sides of the ball.
Gonzaga, the 14th team to enter the Final Four unbeaten. Their 16-point loss Monday tied for the second largest loss by a team that entered the Final Four unbeaten, and it's the largest loss by one of those teams in the national title game. Coming up soon on SportsCenter, what the College Game Day crew saw in Indianapolis. We'll discuss Baylor's win and another missed opportunity for a perfect season. That's all on SportsCenter.
Giants failed for a single second in the national championship game. First team to take the title and not be behind at all since UConn did it in 2004. What a performance from the Bears. Reese Davis, Jay Billis, Seth Greenberg, and LaFonso Ellis. Baylor came in, tremendous three-point shooting team, but they really dominated this game with their defense.
Yeah, they won the opening tap, and the first thing they did was get a bunch of offensive rebounds and set a tone of the ball belongs to us. Yeah. And Baylor pursued it, and then immediately every offensive possession that Gonzaga had, they had a green shirt in their shirt. They had to turn their backs. They couldn't get anything going to the basket. Everything was contested. Baylor was physical. They were together. They were just stronger, and they looked physically stronger throughout the game. Mm-hmm. Part of that was because of their aggressiveness. But it was the first time all season long that Gonzaga couldn't get anything going on the offensive end. That was their lowest scoring output of the season. I think their low was 73 before this championship game. And it wasn't because all of a sudden Gonzaga couldn't make shots. Baylor took them out of everything they were trying to do. It was a dominant performance. And I know we've talked about this, but when Gonzaga got it down to 10 at halftime, you're thinking, hey, maybe the door is cracked a little bit here. 10 is a manageable number. And Jared Butler slammed the door in the first few possessions of the second half with those big shots he hit. Those were NBA caliber takes. I mean, you know, they got the matchup they wanted, and they went after that matchup and dominated it.
Yeah, I just thought they did a great job of being who they were. They're an elite level three-point shooting team. They made 10. They're an elite offensive rebounding team. They had 16. And to Jay's point, defensively, they were great. I thought their bigs did a tremendous job. Anytime there was dribble handoffs, anytime there were ball screen situations, their bigs really got out and made the guards extend. That buys you time for your rotations. I just thought this was a completely dominant game for the Baylor Bears, Seth.
Bigger, stronger, quicker, more active. Every aspect of the game, offensively and defensively. Offensively, quicker to the glass. Defensively, quicker on rotations to close out and pressure the basketball. Ball pressure buys time. That ball pressure pushed Gonzaga out a step further. That ball pressure took away vision for any cutters. That ball pressure basically dominated the game. And then I'm going to go back to Mark Vidal because it sounds silly. That guy had 6 points. He had 8 offensive rebounds. He had more offensive rebounds than he had points. And those 3 rebounds early in the game, but his ability to extend plays. Rebound, defend, and be who you are. You know, like I was trying to think, if I was either Mark Few or Scott Drew, by the way, I'd be very happy right now. but talking to my team before the game, here's what I would have said to them. Just be us. This is who we are. This is what's gotten us here. We're going to rebound, we're going to defend, and we're going to trust each other and share the basketball. And that's exactly what Baylor did for 40 minutes as they dominated the most historic offensive team that we've seen. I mean, it was an incredible performance by the Baylor Bears.
Baylor's been good, really good, contender for well over a decade. They lost to a couple of eventual champions in the Elite Eight in 2010, 2012. When you consider what Scott Drew took over amidst the scandal and the turmoil, and that he took it from that, and people ask him, why would you take this job? And tonight, McLean Stadium in Waco, they're celebrating because the Baylor Bears are national champions.
Everything but the Nets. UConn's Paige Beckers won the Wooden Award on Monday, becoming the first freshman to earn that particular honor as the top women's player in college basketball. Adds that to the AP and the ESPN.com awards. 5'11" point guard just didn't get a chance.
At Baylor University, I did not come to go to the NCAA tournament. We came to win games at the NCAA tournament. We came with the chance to win a national championship at Baylor University.
And the Baylor Bears do indeed bear down to knock off the unbeaten Gonzaga Bulldogs and claim the school's first men's basketball championship.
Indiana State tournament goes to the Baylor Bears. Lost in the regular season to KU and OSU? You can have them no matter. We'll take the chip. Allison Williams from Indy. Sick 'em.
Baylor came out and dominated Gonzaga from start to finish to win the program's first national championship. And they do so in a college basketball season unlike any other. Words like isolation, sacrifice, testing have always been a part of the basketball vernacular, but this year they took on a different meaning. And Baylor took on all that and more and still walked away champions.
Guys not going to see family, not going to see friends, basically apartment or wherever they're housed in the gym. And, I mean, they really sacrificed a lot. And I feel real blessed that they had an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. I'm just saying how pleased and blessed we all are that we played games, had this championship, and I'm speaking for the players and the coaches.
I think it's harder to win it in this year than ever before. You know, with the stoppages and, you know, testing and the sacrificing your social life just so you can play basketball games, having no fans sometimes. And it's just hard to get up for sometimes for these games. And, you know, I'm just so thankful that we were able to play and, you know, the tournament still go on. So it's just really cool to say that we did that in the midst of adversity, in the midst of, you know, tribulations and, you know, to bring it home for Baylor. It's amazing.
The celebration out on this court was special. The hugs shared as the confetti rained down, the dancing taking place on the court. But I would venture to guess it pales in comparison to the hugs and the celebration taking place next door at the convention center. Because for the first time in over a month, Players and staff are reunited with their families, and those loved ones finally get to hug their dads and sons for the first time in a long time, and they do so as champions.
Sports Center on the road is presented by Rocket Mortgage.
North Carolina moved quickly and named Hubert Davis to succeed Roy Williams.
Thank you, gentlemen. From Augusta's Magnolia Lane, Magnolia's Chip and Joanna Gaines. Baylor's most famous fans are celebrating. And the College Game Day crew breaking down Gonzaga's missed opportunity for a perfect season. Oh, the one in the right-hand column.
Gonna get another moment like this, it's special, and those things that you gotta cherish.
Title game underway. Here we go. Everybody's getting a three. Baylor unstoppable right now. Gonzaga with life. Defense turns to offense. The concession by the unbeaten Bulldogs. And the Baylor Bears claim the school's first men's basketball championship in 2021.
Undefeated's hard, man. Hoosiers still it from that 75-76 season. A couple seasons later, Indiana State rolled into the championship game with Larry Bird, the Sycamores unbeaten until Magic Johnson, Michigan State, took them down for the Natty.
Yeah, they did. Rest in peace, Jerry Tarkanian, and that unbeaten season. Remember, they'd won the title, blew out Duke in 1990. Now they're unbeaten in 91. But Duke gets them back in the semifinals. Grandmama and all the guys go down to Duke in that one.
2014 tournament, Wichita State. They had been to the Final Four the year before, 34-0, and then the horrible draw. They get a really good Kentucky team, and they're out in the second round of 32. Great game between great teams, 34-1 for the Wheat Shockers.
Well, then the guys who returned, that same Kentucky team, reached the national final. 34-0 start in 2015. Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, they made it back to the Final Four, but falling to Wisconsin in the national semifinal.
And of course, Monday, Gonzaga undefeated entering the tournament, undefeated entering the championship game. 31-0, now 31-1. They lose to Baylor, 86-70. With more on that, we're back with RD and his gang.
Baylor, the national champions. Gonzaga's dream of being the first undefeated champion since Indiana in 1976 comes to an end. Gonzaga, the third team to enter the championship game undefeated and come home with a loss. So look, they were in the title game for the second time in 4 years. It's a remarkable achievement. Yes. But when you don't finish the deal, how do you think back on this season? What's the legacy? What's the post-mortem on this season for Gonzaga?
One of the best offensive teams I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And 31-0 going into the title game. I get it, how it works in America. If you don't finish the deal, it allows people to take shots at you and say you weren't as good as your record. That's what some people will say. I think that's an unreasonable point of view. The way I look at this is kind of like looking back at football in the Rose Bowl. I think it was 2006 when Texas and USC played. When we were talking about USC being one of the great teams of all time, and they got clipped and beat in the championship game. That didn't invalidate what USC did the whole year. It was great. Texas was great. And in this game, Baylor was great. And I'm not saying they weren't the better team overall, but you're talking about two teams that without COVID, both those teams could have been unbeaten in that title game. That's how good Baylor has been all year and how good Gonzaga has been all year. Gonzaga is still offensively, historically good, and a team that I think I will remember forever. It's just I'll remember Baylor as the champion.
It's hard to go undefeated. It is really hard to win a national championship. Maybe one of the hardest things to do considering the journey you have to go, because really what happened the day before means nothing. But when you look at this Gonzaga team and you look at their journey and you watch them play and you see the trust that they developed and you see how they dealt with the roadblocks and the detours of the season and the success that they had, there's only one national champion. Yeah, that was their ultimate goal. But to say anything but this was a tremendous success is just not fair. They didn't reach their destination. Like the road to success is always under construction. They found that one last detour and roadblock. But to say that they didn't have an incredible journey, it's just not fair.
the best offensive team I've seen in the 12 years that I've been here. I mean, the way that they move and share the basketball, they cut, their ability to get out in transition. You can't take anything away from this team. I think this will be 3 straight years they led our country in scoring. They just ran into a Baylor team that was better than they were in certain areas. They dominated the glass. They knocked down their 3 balls. Their defense was spectacular, but it doesn't take anything away from the best offensive team I've seen since I've been here at the company.
And you know, the other thing, too, to the point of them playing in 2 of the last 4 national championship games already, with all due respect to the changes that we'll see in rosters coming up, they're already the favorites.
Wow.
Win next year. You know? So, I mean, there's always next year,
Drew
right?
Timmy's only a sophomore.
Yeah, well.
Lot to build on.
Again, there could be roster changes before we actually get started.
The roster could get better.
It could. I'm sure that there are plenty of people eager to go and cast their lot with Mark Few and the Zags. Come up short against Baylor. Bears a worthy champion and beat a great team to do it.
We are going around the diamond.
Counterclockwise.
Suggests Twins Tigers on the second inning. Twins up 2-0. They're loaded for Nelson Cruz, and he's still hitting it way back. If it's fair, it's a grand slam. It's foul. Strike 1. All right, they want to review the play though. I already called it foul, and it was. I was right. So he just missed the grand slam, but the very next pitch, he's still feeling it. La pelota no está aquí. Man, that went out in a hurry. 2 homers on Monday, 12th multi-homer game since turning 38. Most in Major League history. Twins win it 15-6.
Reds hosting the Pirates. Nick Castellanos appealing a 2-game suspension. Remember, he had some actions Saturday that found objectionable by many, and then he cramped. How you like me now? Off what is, haven't seen it, should. Aaron Rodgers hosting Jeopardy!
Thank you, Jodie Foster. It's his lifelong dream to do this. Look at him, handsome.
Nice.
Sport coat on. The whole
When we saw him last time in his football gear, remember it was the NFC Championship game against the Buccaneers, and he threw that, and they went for a field goal on 4th down.
Probably should have ran it in.
There was some dispute there.
He wanted to punt.
They never got the ball back. I'm not sure he necessarily wanted to punt. No. I think maybe he wanted to go for it. It all worked out terribly as the Packers never get the ball back, and they lost 31-26, and Tom won another Super Bowl because that's why he's the greatest living American. But he's never hosted Jeopardy. Final Jeopardy, and our man Rodgers get trolled.
Who wanted to kick that field goal? That is a great question. Should be correct, but unfortunately for this game today, that's incorrect, and you're going to lose 0. Thank you for that, and congrats on your 2-day win streak.
That's funny. Roger, so that's right. He's going to host 9 more episodes, and then 2 years from now, Jordan Love will be hosting the show.
Sure. Here. Fight that. Coming up, top of the hour, that guy didn't win, nor did he. He did. He didn't. He didn't. He did. Baylor, your title winner, next on SportsCenter. This is what you get to print when you win a title. This is the Waco Tribune-Herald. They went minimalist, just champs.
That's all you need.
Spokesman review in Spokane, Washington. We go with wheat prices or something just to kind of get it off them. Hey, you know what's sad? Neil Everett, our friend from Spokane, wrote this beautiful essay, had Gonzaga won, and that'll be delayed for a year at least.
Yeah, it was the little engine that did. The little engine is still chugging up that hill.
An undertaking as Dick Vitale joining us on the night that Baylor wins the national championship, and the players who have been in the controlled environment or the bubble, if you will have an opportunity to see some of their family now. The NCAA arranging for the convention and certain wristbands to get in. So that's certainly good news that was reported earlier tonight. On the floor, though, this was a punctuating performance. I think one of the things that we talked about earlier, it's important. Baylor could well have been completing a perfect season if not for some of the issues that Dick mentioned with COVID and so forth and the shutdown that they had.
Yeah, and to Dick's point, the same kudos to Lynn Holzman and Nina King to pull off the women's tournament flawlessly as well. But for the Baylor Bears, from the opening tap, they were the more aggressive team. They knocked Gonzaga back. Gonzaga couldn't make their passes, their cuts. They were turning the ball over. It was offensive rebounds second chance opportunities to start the game for Baylor. Baylor dominated the game from the tip. And I thought, okay, at halftime when Gonzaga got it down to 10, I was thinking, all right, they got a chance here. 10 is a manageable number. Started the second half, whatever crack was in that door, Jared Butler slammed. I mean, he made those two big shots to start the second half, and you're going, that's it. Like, there's no way to recover from that. And when you see that, like, Gonzaga saw their own blood in the first half, and then they were on the canvas in the second. It was over, and Jared Butler slammed the door.
Yeah, I just, looking at this game coming into it, I was just interested to see which style would prevail, which identity would prevail. And Baylor played the way they played. They're an elite three-point shooting team. They made 10 in this game. They're an elite offensive rebounding team. They had, 16 in this game? And their defense was absolutely smothering, didn't allow Gonzaga to run much of their action. Any easy looks that they could get, they had to get them in transition. What a completely dominant performance by Baylor South.
Bigger, stronger, tougher, more active. They dominated the game. Every aspect of the game. Three-point shooting, points off the bench, second chance opportunities, points out of their defense. They dominated a Gonzaga team that we all, let's face it, thought was historically good offensively. They did it because they physically dominated them. And I always had to say, ball pressure buys time. Ball pressure was dominant in this game because when you can pressure the ball and force people to step one step further out, all of a sudden, you can't see the cut, you can't see the pass. That shot is one step further out. They took Kispert absolutely out of the game. Their help, their active hands was dominant. And the unsung hero of this thing, he only had 6 points, and I'm going to say it again because he sets the tone. Mark Vital, 8 offensive rebounds. The dude was an absolute beast. All right, he pursued every single ball, and that first possession sent the message. That ball went up, they rebounded. It went up again, they rebounded. Up, went up again, they rebounded. They finally put it in the basket. Basically, they told Gonzaga, this is the way it's going to be all night, and we're not backing down, and they didn't back down for 40 minutes.
And it wasn't just Davion Mitchell at the point of attack. It was everybody.
Oh, everyone.
I mean, it was everybody. They were there on the catch. They helped. They recovered. It was spectacular to watch. And their offense, when Gonzaga was switching everything.
Yes.
And when they got the switch they wanted, they went after it. You know, they went it was like an NBA team going after the matchup that they wanted. It was very matchup oriented in that regard. And we had talked about this throughout the course of the year, that Baylor does as good a job as anyone of making individual plays. They play within a team concept, but they can make individual plays, especially at the end of a clock. And they did that throughout the first half. I thought their offense was keyed by their defense, but their offense was spectacular.
They're just the third team since seeding began in 1979 to win a national championship without a McDonald's All-American on the roster. What do you think it says, Fonz, about development, chemistry, the things that Scott Drew was able to do, cobbling this team together, getting the most out of their talents? These talented guys, just because they weren't McDonald's All-Americans, I don't mean to imply they aren't talented. They most certainly are. But to be able to put together a team with this type of chemistry, what does it say to you?
It's incredible. It's remarkable. Because, again, 2.5 years ago, this was a team that played kind of through their bigs. They played a zone, and then all of a sudden he looks around and figures out that his best players on the floor are actually his guards. And we've been talking all year long that Baylor has the best backcourt in all of college basketball. How about 70 of their 86 points tonight came from those 4 guys? Incredible.
Which is what all season long.
Yeah.
You know, why did they go man-to-man? Remember when Terrence Clark went out with that knee injury? He looked at his roster and said, Mark Vital was going to be our post guy before they got Freddie Gillespie. How are we going to do this? They decided to play those 4 guards, get up underneath people, and pressure them. But we started the season with COVID and everything we said, experience is going to matter. You look at this team, they've got a bunch of fifth-year seniors. They've got experience, they've got maturity, they've got toughness. They handled the pause almost seamlessly. If you think about once they got into that tournament, they were back to being Baylor. And Reese, you mentioned something while we were watching the game, and I think it was a conversation you had with Scott or heard